let's do a cheers to the Sobeys Safeway Liquor Beer podcast.
Be right again.
I love you guys.
Careful, that cake's hot.
It's the 6 o'clock to check in. Come on, let's go. It's the AM nasty big hello. It's not static AM radio. It's the cool bed red hot Nielson Show. Let's go. Everybody tuning in, even my wife.
Mommy likes too.
And those Macromala intros are cutting like a knife. Hey, it's Mitch texting in, he's your dealer for life. Let's crack at 6 o'clock and log you with some sirloin bites.
Good morning. Happy Friday, 6:04. You are tuned into the Nielson Show, Edmonton Sports Talk. Of course, streaming on the iHeart, the TuneIn radio apps, and live on YouTube as we go away from the fish islands back to the regular shot. The Nasty Chat is pumping. The Paris Jewelers inbox is getting full. And I'd like to welcome back to the show Wil Fraser.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. That way people can steal my identity even better. So,
There's a few out there.
Yeah.
And a great-ass Fraser in the Nasty Chat says, hear ye, hear ye. You also have parts of your body being impersonated on the Nasty Chat on YouTube.
that's a shame.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're looking good. You're keeping fit, as we all know. And this is, I've been looking forward to this, and this was in the works for a while. You, of course, the man of mystery behind the curtain there for a couple of weeks, sitting around here making the pies and everything like that. But we were talking before we went on air. I don't know the last time you and I have been on together.
Yeah, well, similar with Dustin last week. Yeah, 7 years. Like 7 years. That's a long time.
Time flies. You got a global pandemic sandwiched in the middle, and it kind of fast forwards a bit more, I guess. In that sense. You were sitting here last week. You got a taste of the Dustin Nielsen volume. That hasn't changed, has it, in the years,
He's not doing well.
Guy can't hear.
Yeah. He's not. It's not good.
The jaw gets in the jaw, that type of thing. Have your say once again. The Nasty Chat humming along here. Hit the subscribe button if you are watching on YouTube this morning, and give us a like. Let's pepper that like button and hit the 300. It's a busy show. It's a busy Friday. Lots going on in the sporting world, as you know. Oilers Penguins back again. Jesse Puljujarvi returns with the hips. He's healthy. Those hips are looking good. We've already had a few people, both in the Paris Jewelers inbox and the Nasty Chat, inform us of, more former Oilers getting in on the point parade from last night in the NHL, which I'm sure we'll get to with Chris Johnston of TSN in the second hour today. But it's just good to be alongside Wil. I don't know where this show is going to go, but as mentioned, we've got a full roadmap here. So
we already have a front runner for text of the day.
Get out of here.
And we do.
You're monitoring.
Buzz in Nebraska.
Okay.
Who the hell is that guy?
Well, I mean, look, as I've said, if you're new, if this is fresh to you all, I mean, you got the glasses on here.
Yeah.
You're looking outstanding. The guy runs. How, what do we, step count, kilometers, what are we looking at every day?
About 50K a week. is probably my mileage, 50 to 60.
And this is not the Wil with Wil Fraser that I was introduced to back in the day. You've come a long way, baby.
But you knew the aspirational Wil back then. Like, you knew the Wil that was like, I got to make some changes.
You had a dream.
Yeah.
Whether it was living alone in a van or whatever it was, you had something there.
Yeah. And like, where it was like, this is not sustainable. Like, 5'7" and this eating habit has got to change.
I remember you informed me of your daily routine after the show, which included just a few actions at home, and then your wife came home and it was supper, and then, then the
I
day
made
goes
dinner,
again.
and little laundry. It is Friday today, so it's a full laundry day. You got to change
Who is this
the
guy?
sheets. This is how you know you're the old person in your like nuclear family. I remember going to my now wife's house when we were still dating, and it was the weekend, and her parents were slightly older than I am now, and I remember her mom getting out the ironing board and ironing the sheets before she put them on the bed, like doing the pillowcase.
It's a lot of work.
And then doing the top of the top sheet and what have you. And I remember thinking, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
As you're sitting around all
exactly.
fat and sappy.
I just remember being like, that's insanity. Well, 2 years ago, I literally was getting the sheets on the bed, and I was like, I can't stand these wrinkles.
And it hit you? Did it clue in? Like, did you have a moment where you just kind of...
Yeah, and so now, like, part of my routine is to literally, like, I am that lame. I am so lame that I am now someone who is visibly bothered by too many wrinkles in his pillowcase to the point that I now iron pillowcases. I'm a psychopath.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
Yeah. This is what old age does. It either makes you start to look after yourself physically, and then once you do that, you're like, oh, it was never physical. It was mental. I'm going insane. And so you start to do little things to try and help yourself cope with the looming insanity.
It's been a journey. This is great stuff. I look forward to continue learning more about your journey throughout the show today. Also with a few sports sprinkled in liberally as we'll go. I was buzzing Edmonton when this guy was still on the radio. That's how long ago Buzzing Nebraska chimes back in here. Norman the Combine says it's a young Stu Barnes.
Stu Barnes.
Tube Sock says Sholto with an exclamation point.
I use the Stu Barnes arena bathroom quite often on many of my runs.
Look at this. It's all coming together now.
It did. It completed the circle the last time I did it. Yeah.
Big G says, happy Friday, LTE, and welcome back, Uncle Wil with 1L, LOL. I know a lot of people, Jaunty from Victoria, trying to text in a song this morning. Didn't really work, but I don't know if you did it with Nielson a few weeks back, but can we get a turn your headlights on, I guess?
Turn your headlights on!
We are flying here. The Nielson Show presented, as always, by Southport Chevrolet as well. Drive a little, save a lot. October's coming to an end. Go see Daniel and his team, and you can talk about his fantasy football team, which are currently 0-7 heading into Week 8. Family-friendly. It's a great little dealership. We were down there for Oktoberfest, but the month of October, employee pricing for the rest of the month. You can save up to $15,000 on select models. Visit their website, www.southportchev.com.
And all those new cars, they've got automatic headlights.
Did you see Dustin driving
but you
that?
got to turn it to automatic headlight and then just leave it.
Dustin got into a Corvette and he couldn't get out with the door and everything. Like, where's the handle? He says. And then he had to like speak it open type of thing. It was quite the scene. Driving it and everything. You would have loved it.
Did he panic?
You would. He was sweating. Yeah. And it was in the showroom, so he didn't want to get like. It's kind of. God, you miss a lot. But I'm glad like you're here. And we can kind of discuss it and suss it out here. Oilers Penguins tonight. Of course, the Elks wrapping up their season at home to the Argonauts. We'll have you covered wall to wall here on Edmonton Sports Talk throughout the day, especially into the evening. The GCL pre and post game shows. GCL Diesel with Tom Gazzola, 6 o'clock on all the platforms. What's good now doing this here at Edmonton Sports Talk as opposed to back at the old place is we can run multiple shows at the same time.
That's right.
On YouTube and all these other things. So join Tommy tonight at 6 for the GCL Diesel pregame show. He'll have the post after Oilers and Penguins. Matt Iwanek and Jason Milne will be live at the Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge tonight. They'll have your Green and Gold kickoff show at 6:30 on the YouTube. Just on the YouTube, just the visual. I was down at Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge last night. We kicked off Week 8. Vikings with a bit of a face mask, controversy. You know what the NFL needs? More officials on the field to catch all of these calls that kind of go awry. But
I mean, they have a million video angles.
there is a guy staring right at it.
Yeah.
Right at it.
Yeah.
Rams coming away with a 30-20 win. But a great night down there. Fergie's prostate getting the jersey. I was saying yesterday, love is in the air. There was a lot of other things going on last night at the casino. It was a great night, but tonight will be a great night too. Resident Yankee fan Matthew Iwanek will be down there cheering on his Yankees. Game 1 of the World Series. Elks, Argos, Oilers, Penguins, all going on.
Yeah, like if Matthew Iwanek doesn't make you cheer for the Dodgers, nothing will.
Well, that's just it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Dustin with a Y was decked out in his pinstripes last night. He'll be there tonight.
Ew.
Alongside Matty, but I think this is Dodgers Nation now. I'm going to say it. I just
It definitely
just
is
because
for
of
me.
that 1 point. Yeah.
Shohei alone is reason enough. Like
Profess your love.
You want to see greatness achieve it, right? And this is the best baseball player I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And now that I'm 47, that's actually a significant amount of time to actually look back and go, who was better? And no one was better.
And he didn't even pitch in the season.
Right.
There's still that kind
Right.
of hidden in the way of the repertoire.
Right.
That will,
it is ridiculous what we might be on the verge of witnessing, which is the best player possibly ever achieving that World Series win that first time. So fingers crossed. I mean, Yankees are a pretty tough beat, so we'll see if they can accomplish it. And I know there's a lot of Aaron Judge fans out there, and he is
not a bad ball player himself.
He's a specimen.
Yeah.
But Shohei is just, it's like a god coming down to play baseball. Like, it's unfair what he is capable of.
And as we like to do in this country as well, a bit of a Blue Jays tie-in, the player that never was, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember Otani Jet? That was quite a day.
Yeah.
They had a table reserved for him that night. It was a sushi bar. They was all expected to go down. And
Yeah.
Tucker, hey, that's that second replacement there.
Yeah. I always like the idea that a guy who's about to sign for $1 billion is concerned about his restaurant reservation. Like, when he's about to put pen to paper, he'd sign a contract that would allow him to buy all of the restaurants. I don't think you need to worry about reservations anymore.
No, that's yesterday's news. We are also coming to you live from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio. Hot chicken. You can get the 2 types of wings, bone in, bone out. And as Dustin Nielson, we learned yesterday, he ate some wings when he was doing the Spengler in Switzerland.
Yeah.
We don't need to, but they came together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before it was, so that was a revelation to him. But you can get the wings individually. Again, bone in, bone out.
Eric, did you know that chickens have wings with 3
I am
joints?
so glad you're here. This is like you and I sitting back in the room again. Barbecue, garlic parmesan, honey garlic, hot, the whole bit. And by God, please bring back the flounder. Just for me.
Yeah.
That flounder sandwich they had was killer at Popeyes. But Louisiana Kitchen Studio, go check out Popeyes today. Make it maybe a pregame meal tonight for all the sports festivities going on. YouTube Trev is here as well. He's behind the monitors today, Manning. He'll be locking it down with the sports update today, Trev. How are you feeling about that? Is it good?
I like these sports updates. I haven't done one since last time Will was in, and he actually complimented them. So here's hoping I don't mess up too bad today. I'm just rehearsing it right now,
Well, I expect them to be better.
Oh gosh. Okay, yeah.
Building off of what?
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
And they
No
will be.
backsliding.
Okay, they will be. Okay. Yep, it'll be good.
And we appreciate it. I appreciate
thank
it. It takes a village here, and
Hold your praise until it's earned.
no, we'll see what the execution is like. I
Yeah.
just
Oh,
taking
gosh.
the time for me. I don't mind. Text of the day as well today for A&W, and you mentioned already a few in. You're already calling it in Buzz, Nebraska, but I think with you in the
this guy?
With you in the chair today, we can probably unearth some real gems here. But for A&W, it is a game day, an Oilers game day, which means you get that $5 Mama Burger and Fries deal, to which I took advantage of the other night. Plus, if you win text of the day today for A&W, $20 to A&W. That's a lot of $5 Mama Burger deals. You could feed the family here tonight.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Come hard after that text of the day, and we'll announce that later on in the show. To go over the show, the menu today, morning announcements for 100.3 The Bear, kind of what we're doing right now. Talk to the Bear Boys this morning. Always a treat when Dustin's away. The morning zoo over there. Hey, you miss that too. I know you like to walk around there and kind of, go down to the rock side of the building. Halloween Howler tonight. I assume you've got your tickets. You've ironed out your
I
best
don't.
shirt?
No,
Your
I only go to the green room, and so they don't let me in there anymore. So
We talked about that yesterday too. I missed that room. The amount of and of all the green rooms, probably the best out of with the food and the buffet.
way too small. First of all, like
but cozy.
yeah, like way too small, too many people, full like and
One
it was,
bartender.
Like and it was supposed to be like our radio staff, and every year you'd walk in and you would know 2 people in a room full of 90. And it was just, and so you could either be upset by the fact that it was full of strangers or just turn into it. And Eric always just turned into the fact that he was surrounded by strangers. It was a beautiful thing. It was weird.
Sexy costumes.
Yeah.
Every year you're guaranteed at least one from one salesperson or somebody else, right? I mean, there was the Charles Manson year was the best when I had those candy rockets and I was handing them out like acid, and then the security didn't like that too much. There were tears shed, both of happiness and sadness in that room.
Yeah.
And again, just I love the stale cold pizza sitting there throughout the night and being able to help yourself whenever you wanted.
Right. Yeah. We're having food brought into the green room. Oh, really? Food? And it was like a no-name brand pizza, like frozen pizza that they brought in. It was not their best.
No, it was like the Red Baron type of variety there. You could add a few toppings on yourself if you needed. C-Max from the South Side in the Paris Jewelers inbox coming at me hard today. Hey, LTE, eat a D. You always have to poo-poo on the Jays, you Mariners fan. How did they fare this year, by the way? I just mentioned that, the Jays were in the running for Shohei Ohtani. That's a competitive ball team in the running for a star in the offseason.
All we were bringing up is how the Jays management got played again.
His words, not mine. It's the guest here.
Got taken advantage of, got toured around the entire major leagues and made fun of. That's all we were pointing out.
And the Dragon's Den dude was on the plane.
And then they showed up this season and decided to lay an egg all season long. So,
we're just
not a big deal.
It's the same as these former Oilers bagging points all over the league.
Hey,
What
man,
are we supposed to say?
I'm a Cubs fan. I've been waiting around for the future for 6 years now.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, you just wait and see. This is some young talent.
Well, we remember when you had your series as well. That was a memorable time around the old place.
Well, this is just it. Like, they won a World Series in my lifetime.
There
so
you go.
I'm good. That's the nice thing about being a Cubs fan is that's not a lie. Like, Cubs Nation is not walking around like clenching our jaw, right?
No.
Like Yankees fan, Matthew Wanek.
Well, you have a reputation
has been twitching for over a decade that his Yankees have not been back to a World Series. I'm a Cubs fan. Like, I can just put the tape in and watch a World Series whenever I want.
20-some World Series, it's just not enough either. Like, he needs more and more and more. It is gluttony.
It's gluttony.
That's a sin.
It is one of the 7, yeah.
Well, more in the World Series coming up at around 7:30. The Fan Zone, an interesting debate on this World Series to which Will and I will be taking opposite sides. Morning announcements for 100. Halloween Heller tonight. Will and the Wolf will be playing alongside Royal Tusk. Couple of good local acts. In truth, too, always the best costumery at that event as well. Walking around people go all out. So if you are going down to the River Cree Resort and Casino tonight, tweet out some pictures. Why not? I'd love to see them. I won't be there, unfortunately, tonight, but go check out Whale and the Wolf and friends. That's good for the Italian Center shop. We'll get into this in a matter of minutes. We got the crack pack for Wayne's. We're going baseball today. We're going Frank Thomas, Big Hurt rookie hunting, Ken Griffey Jr. rookie hunting as well, which gets you excited.
Yeah.
And the Billy Ripken F-face card hunting. If you know, you know. The F-face stenciled nice on the butt end of the bat. So we'll crack a few of these packs. Thank you to Wayne. Popped in to see him yesterday, and I figured, why not do a little baseball here with Game 1 of the World Series upon us. Chris Johnston from TSN Hour 2 will go around the NHL, specifically Oilers and Penguins tonight. Cool, but Canada Hotline of the Day. Maybe look to something in the World Series there as well, followed by the Fan Zone, to which we'll take a deeper dive in the World Series. Herm Edwards, the coach, hopefully gets to join us today at around 7:40. We'll recap last night's Thursday Nighter and set up the rest of the slate, Week 8 in the NFL. Kind of easy trivia for Mr. Mike's 3 questions too many for Park Mazda. You know how we do in the final third. That hurts. For James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, then we'll dive into Oilers Penguins with an orange and blue breakfast, followed by Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week. Irrational Brewing, 124th Street, will be joining us in studio today. So we look forward to that, wetting our whistles. We'll need it by the end of this show. I think lots to discuss, lots to catch up on, of course, and all that. But right now, that hurts for the Italian Center shop. And I know we did get a text in from somebody today. Who had the sandwich there? You saw them there. Hey,
That was at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it was a mild. It was a mild panino.
Yeah.
Who are you again? Text back in so I can repopulate the text here. But anyways, Italian Center shop. It's not just a good place to go get those sandwiches. My wife, Danielle, and I, last Friday, we went, you can go on a date there at the West End. You can eat in. They have the little European type of tables. They give you a little number, a placard. You order a pizza, have a house wine, sit there, enjoy yourself.
You can actually get a cappuccino and get like a sidecar of Bailey's.
It's so good. And the little, what are the biscuits, though? Those narrow biscuits? Whatever they're called.
The dried out cookies?
But they're delicious.
But in a good way.
In a good way. You go there, take your sweetie out tonight, maybe.
Biscotti, that's what you're
Biscotti, that's the one. But you can sit, enjoy yourself, then do a little shopping. Get a cream horn from the bakery, a couple 100 grams of prosciutto from the deli, and some nice pastas and sauces there as well. And we dined out hard on the pies this week, did we not, Trev? Hey? Dusty tried his first black olive. You missed that, Will. That was a hell of a time. A slice of one, but he tried it nonetheless. We were all very proud. Italian Center shop, check them out today. Hand-stretched house-made dough topped with signature sauce. Best ingredients, including the olives. The pizziolos have done the hard work, so you just need to throw them in the oven. Look like a hero in 10 minutes flat.
On the square board of how Dustin Nielson dies, like, who has allergic reaction to, like, unknown food allergy?
Well,
because that should be one that you're fighting for, because
quite right.
He has eaten so few things in his life. We don't even know what he's allergic to.
You should almost go get one of those tests where they prick you with the 100 needles, right? Like black olives, fruit in general. Bam. See what happens. I've never gotten stung by a wasp.
You've never been stung by a wasp?
So that's my fear, too. If I'm out in the wild and say one day I get a sting, what happens?
I was stung by a wasp a couple of weeks ago putting a coat on. It was inside the coat.
A couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, and it stung me in...
one of those drunk latter-day ones.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he was obviously
confused.
Near the end of his days.
I'm old. I'm confused.
Climbed into my coat. I put the coat. He stung in my back. It was like, that's upsetting. That's an upsetting way to start your day, is to put a coat on, feel a stinging sensation, take it off, and have a dead wasp fall out.
Only up from there, I guess. Hey, I mean, I don't know. You're obviously you're alive to tell the tale. So it's
one wasp. It's going to take more than one wasp.
Right in the right in the thing. Nasty chat, hum along as well. Ross Creek Nasty, RCN. You remember old RCN?
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn versus the Bronx, I guess, in this world. Yeah,
absolutely,
there's been a tradition to it all.
Yeah.
Probably better than Cleveland and the Mets. Would you not agree? Or
Yes, I would agree that has. This is a more marquee level event than Cleveland versus the Mets.
Robert Manfred is kicking back and loving this. Stanton and Soto, baby, comes in from Smith TM14. We'll get to the World Series once again, Fan Zone second hour, but that's good for the Italian Center shop. And I am just, look, we'll continue this. It's the opening hour. We like to have a little loose in the opening hour, not so much business. It's good to have you back, and I'm glad to see you, man.
That's
because
very nice
we usually just talk here. You're in the hangout or whatever. We talk off air, which are always the best conversations.
I don't know if this is going to work. Like, for years, Eric and I had our own show with only 2 listeners.
This is our chance to tell people. Yeah,
it was our show, and it happened every morning while Dustin was doing the show. And so the way that the old studio was set up is that there was a main studio similar in size to this, with mics and seating, and that's where Dustin did his hosting from. But because of the nature of a live call-in radio show, you needed a separate area so that you could screen phone calls, you could bring guests on, you could prep guests. And then we also had Eric, who was doing production for the show. And so we shared a much smaller booth separated by a soundproof window between the two. And so while we were on air, it was full focus on the show. But anytime we went to a commercial break, or Dustin was doing an in-depth interview with somebody who couldn't be distracted by a second voice, that sort of a thing, I would just cut my mic, and Eric and I would literally just have our own show going on in the background. And
the YouTube videos that you showed me.
Yeah, like, I don't know if it was a good show, but it had us very entertained every day.
I always wanted more.
Yeah. Well, Eric would just sit there and watch me slowly go insane listening to the same ads every day because they'd get stuck in your brain, and so then you'd start riffing off of really bad commercials, like. And so, yeah, it's just, like I said, I don't know if it was good or not, but it always left us very entertained.
And it probably, the timeline of it all suggests that it ended maybe at the right, again, any further would have probably drove us over the edge.
I was also, like, a young dad, like, married for quite some time.
Well, your kids are moved, they're out. I mean, people don't
so
notice it.
you came in and you were, I just lived vicariously.
Oh, I was
through
making the scene, baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
you were a maniac. Like you were the Lizard King sometimes, as I always said.
Yes.
Yeah, like you.
Lots of sleepless nights.
Yeah. And like you were a young guy, and it was you first started as a practicum student.
Correct. Yes.
And you had no money. Like you
was
were literally starving. half
Hard-boiled
the time.
eggs and
Yeah.
cloves of garlic.
Like you were. And so there would be mornings where you were late, like you hadn't showed up. And my parental instinct would always just kick in. I would just sit there like terrified until you showed
You'd
up.
never see me again.
I was never upset. When you showed up late, I was never upset with you. I was always just happy you were okay.
Relieved.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
just
yeah.
it was always greeted with relief when you rolled in. It was like, oh, thank God you're not dead. Because that was a real concern. Like
I can't even, like, I'm kind of, it sucks because we can't even go to a full tell-all on this show. I don't feel that it's appropriate. We should do an offshoot podcast where it's no holds barred and we can really relive a lot of those specific memories. And times.
Yeah, you showed up the one time, though, dealing with some sort of something that your hand was shaking so much that you couldn't grip the mouse.
Are you serious?
And I had to send you home.
Yes. Yeah.
I had to be like, you can't die in front of me. You need to go crawl into a closet somewhere. Please go do that. So, yeah. You were the legend. You still are the legend.
Summer nights.
But, oh, man. Yeah, that's right. That's right. When the temperature was above 10 degrees, there was no idea what you were doing that evening.
Why bother?
Yeah.
Why bother? LT is like the baby from Baby's Day Out when it comes to wasp sting bites, somehow completely unharmed despite going through construction sites, gorilla cages, etc.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, given everything that you said there, that I have never gotten the sting yet, but kind of adding both of those.
You're a very chill person, though. Like
I don't mess with the
and
wasps.
as we learned from Jerry Maguire, like bees and I assume wasps can smell fear. So you're a fearless person. They're not looking for a fight.
C-Max from the south side is back in over the ropes. Love phrase, best part to have back. Bring back Nielson and Fraser and put LTE to the wolves, LOL. Look, I love the threesome. It was a good mix, the post-show shows.
Yeah.
I always akin it to the Tom Green show with Phil Drew in the back, right? Like that was the whole, that was the bit, baby. Yeah.
You were key to the success of the show. Like our show, like we had other practicum students before you, and they were fine. Sometimes they got into fist fights with previous co-hosts, but
Loyalty
for the most
runs
part,
deep.
Yeah, but for the most part, they were fine. Some of them didn't smell great, and then you showed up.
I didn't smell too bad. Yeah,
And you were you were Rip Jesus, and you got the bit. And also, Dustin and I were, in a lot of ways, incredibly boring radio in that we were both super nice guys. We still are. Like we were both went out of our ways to remain pleasant to anyone we met, no matter how we felt about them. And Erica gave us the opportunity to be villains. And
that was the heavy bag.
it
You
was like
right?
it was the perfect way for us to not be so pleasant. Is it gave us you to just beat up on, and the amount of people who would be upset.
Oh, there were emails.
There were emails.
Calls.
There was calls to our bosses about how we were treating you. It was just perfect. Like it was like you
got the reaction.
Yeah, like you could tell that some people just thought we were awful the way that we treated Eric. Yeah.
Who knows? By the third hour, maybe we kind of slide back into that character
shut up,
again. I've gotten dunked on here a couple of times since. Don't kid yourself. But that's enough. That's way too much praise. That's good. It's good to have you back. But we got another one here in YouTube, Trev, kind of coming along as well. We're not that Times have changed, Will.
Well,
The
let's try it
society's
out.
changed.
Let's see. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
What do you
Trevor?
got?
Shut up!
What do you got?
Just shut up, Trevor.
Okay.
We'll go to YouTube, Trevor, right
Hey.
now for a sports update.
Okay.
For Nisku Glass, if you need glass repair, if you've broken glass, if you they know
Don't
how to
let me
press
down
glass.
there, baby bear.
Shut up, Trevor.
We'll get to it by the third hour. We'll all get this all mixed in. We'll all know our roles. But hit a sports update. Trev's on the sports updates today. That's good for the Italian Center Shop. We thank them. We love them. Delicious place to go. We'll be back once again. Oilers Penguins today. Big day in Edmonton and elsewhere with the World Series as well. Elks rounding out their season. Still no president. Who gets a president first? The United States of America or the Edmonton Elks? Have your say. 780-218-9999. Paris Jewelers inbox. Crack pack for Wayne's coming up to conclude hour number one. But here's YouTube Trev with a sports update.
Last night in the NHL, Warren Foegele scored a pair, including the game winner. Kings take their home opener 3-2 over the Sharks. The Winnipeg Jets improved to 7-0 on the season with a 4-3 win in overtime in Seattle. Nikolai Ehlers with the winner in that one. The Hurricanes double up on the Flames 4-2, handing the Flames its first regulation loss of the season. And tonight, 4 games in the NHL, including the Oilers and Penguins, McDavid and Crosby from Rogers Place, as Edmonton looks to snap a 2-game slide. Hernan Salas has your GCL Diesel pre- and post-game shows with coverage starting at 6 here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Over to the NFL last night, Minnesota Vikings fall on the road in LA 30-20 to the Rams. The Vikings fall to 5-2 on the season, while the Rams improve to 3-4. The final week of the CFL regular season starts tonight with the doubleheader. Ticats visit the Red Blacks. Kickoff for this one is at 5. And the Elks look to round out their season at home to the Argos. Matawanek and Jason Milne will be live from Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge with the Green and Gold kickoff show. Coverage begins at 6:30 on Edmonton Sports Talk YouTube channel. And to finish things off, the World Series opens tonight from LA between the Dodgers and Yankees. Garrett Cole starts for the New York Yankees while Jack Flaherty gets the ball for LA. First pitch, 6:08. Nisku Glass is growing and now hiring. If you're a nasty that wants to work with other nasties and can cut glass and replace windshields, then we want to hear from you. Email your resume to info@niskuglass.ca or stop by our shop to apply today.
It was okay. Okay.
What say you? Hey, nasty crew. We got the Nielson Show flu, and there's nothing we can do about it. What say you? Hey, nasty crew. My wife thinks I got better things to do, but there's nothing I can do about it. We're tuning in on TuneIn, we're listening online. We catch up with the podcast when we fall behind. We're texting in the nasty chat, what's on our mind. 780-218-9999. No more interference from corporate interest. Just Tuffy and Eric and all of the bad cats like Brzezinski and Noodles. Gadget can gauge it if it's a fun but a cool band to make a little wager. We can't wait for the Monday mandate. Shaggy's always on time. Tommy's always late.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Forget about the old place. Hey, we were number one in the text race. We don't miss all the commercial breaks, but we sure miss Nickelback today. We wanna hear some hot takes and we wanna hear Renee. Why not hold the neck up when I wanna kiss away? Beat left the tire fire and remember that name. We love every goal song, but what about the games? Macramel, Rapaport, Dragger, Engineer. It ain't Christmas season, but they sound like reindeer. But then my cousin and the tales of the North. All about him give a present, Dusty go forth. What say you? AM Nasty Crew. We got the Nielson Show flu, and there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it.
36, you are tuned into the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, streaming worldwide on the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps and on YouTube, and EdmontonSportsTalk.com, the website. That's where you can go for everything. If you want to renew your Nasty Club membership, of course, the Edmonton Sports Talk pop-up store as well, just around the bend, so get your Christmas shopping done early with that. But follow us on all social media platforms, and you'll be up to date on anything and everything going on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's Lieutenant Eric. It's Wil Fraser. I can't believe it. And YouTube, Trev, how about that with the sports update? Hey, I mean, what are we scoring here? Out of do you do it at 10 out of 5? 3 stars.
Nah,
I think we
better than
go.
Pat's
that's a 7.
Has he improved?
6.5. No. That
I think we
was
grade him like on the American 4-point scale and give him a 3.2.
2.
Because
I'd give myself a 2
it's the
on that
most
one.
nebulous grade I've ever heard.
Improvement from last show, though? Are we on
I
that
don't
track
think
here?
so. There's some rust that showed on that one.
'Cause you
I wouldn't
know.
say it's rust. You had more energy
On the last
on the
one.
last one because
Yeah.
you kind of shot yourself out of a gun. You're
Yeah.
I think
I'll bring the energy. I got
yeah.
this.
It felt early season McDavid-y. That's
Yeah.
what it felt like.
Not like the Ex-Oilers playing around the
Playoff
NHL that
McDavid.
right now.
Coming right
yeah,
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring some Dylan Holloway energy to the next
We need
one.
more Warren
can do
Fogle
this.
out of you.
Yeah.
A little bit of Broberg in there.
7 degrees for a high today. Pretty nice weekend on tap, daytime high-wise. A little chilly tonight, though, if you are heading out to the Elks game. We won't be there tailgating tonight, EST. Of course, we'll be spread all around tonight. YouTube Trev will be on the GCL Diesel pre and post as Tommy Gazzola will be working sidelines down at Commonwealth today, while Dustin Nielsen up in the booth. Why he's not here this morning. But a full EST down at Commonwealth tonight, down at Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Of course, the Green and Gold Kickoff Show with Iwanek and Milne, and YouTube Trev, as I mentioned, your GCL Diesel pre and post game shows setting up and tearing down the Oilers and Penguins tonight. But if you are out tonight at the football game, dress up, little chilly, probably around 0 degrees, but get into that tailgate. God love them. Everybody down there. Smoked turkey legs, I do believe, are one of the many menu items that'll be being cooked up down at the tailgate tonight. So final one for the season. Love the tailgate. Bless the tailgate. And if you are heading down there tonight, dress warm and cheer on the Elks here. I mentioned, too, we've been waiting for some sort of presidential announcement. Hasn't come just yet. You hope that's around the bend as well. But I honest question: do the United States get one, or do the Elks get one? The timeline's kind of similar here. You kind of want to get this before you head into the Grey Cup weekend. You want to have your ducks in a row so you can go out there and kind of schmooze and flirt with whomever your GM, coach, and everything else will be.
I guess it depends on if you are hunting for somebody else's talent right now, and maybe that's the case. Maybe the guy or girl that you are going to be hiring is currently involved with another organization's run to a Grey Cup, and so that might be complicating things. I have no idea. I'm only making assumptions.
Sure. Do you have a preference at all? We've all gone around the horn and said, "Oh, GM should be this, head coach should be this." Do you have any sort of fill out in terms of characters in this organization? Below Larry
I
Thompson?
honestly know so little of the talent benches out there when it comes to this. I mean, the CFL is still a mystery to me. Like,
I understand.
I think I start every year going, how is this still a thing? But it is.
You would have time for a little Ed Hervey?
I personally always have time for Ed.
A little Sean Fleming?
I always have time for Fleming.
We'll take it.
But listen, I mean, it is a single owner now, and that needs to be a relationship that works. So, I mean, you can't start your gig as president already being at war with your owner.
And we've said, too, that this is a perfect time where you get to do a total organizational reset with the fan base on board with it. Everybody's pulling in the right direction. You might as well get it right.
Yeah.
This is a golden opportunity to kind of reset and move forward collectively and all arm in arm. So
watching
we'll
Jerry Jones lately, though, I think maybe the owner just needs to do it all because
you're full of Larry. I like this because this is an interesting theory.
He's killing. Jerry's killing it.
The proof's in the pudding.
Days.
Yeah,
like he is just. He is everything I would be if I was an owner of a professional sports team.
Cowboys coming off a bye, I do believe, this week. They will be visiting the San Francisco 49ers Sunday night.
Like, I can understand if you're a Cowboys fan, like you hate the man now.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like he has ruined your team. But if the shoe was on the other foot, if you were a multi-billionaire who got to do whatever he wanted and your favorite team you were now in charge of, would you not do everything? I mean, I would.
Why not? One life to live that we know of.
And when things aren't going well, would you not crap on your head coach publicly?
Who else are you going to crap on?
Exactly.
Yourself?
You're not going to blame yourself.
No.
Like, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's the key.
Well, maybe. Interesting theory. The Larry Thompson days are here, hey, and it's full control.
Yeah.
Our own Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
The organization, has got that Cowboys feel. Like
That's right.
You might be onto something here. The boys might have a little more tonight down there, Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Join them, Elks, Argos, Oilers-Penguins World Series Game 1. As mentioned, lots going on. And we'll kind of dive into the World Series here, but we'll let you know as well, the Nielsen Show presented by Southport Chevrolet. Go check out Daniel, Claire, and the team today out in Fort Saskatchewan. Great, cozy dealership. And again, just go there and harass Daniel about his 0-7 fantasy football. You're not in the fantasy football, are you? A team on ESPN? Do you any random?
I haven't done one in years.
I know, yeah. Only if you have to, right? That type of thing. Like if you're kind of pressured into joining one for the crew.
I wouldn't call it pressured, but yeah.
You do it for fun. You're not like Dustin's in this league. It's called the Spite League.
Yeah.
And he got screwed over, so now he's like out for revenge.
Yeah.
And he's doing deals, turning deals every 2 a day here. And
I do miss the days of Dustin coming in with his fantasy stress. And speaking of Jerry Jones, there wasn't a more self-destructive fantasy owner I've ever come across. That guy would be in first place, and he would immediately start making trades worried about next year, right? Like he'd be like, yeah, well, I know I'm in a good spot now, but if I make this trade, it really sets me up for next year. Like he had no idea how to finish off a fantasy football or hockey
he's
season.
come a long way, baby.
Yeah.
He's as Rexon would say, full chub.
Well, he doesn't know how to win any fantasy league unless he has a farm team, and that was his best friend for years in his one farm team. Is he had a best friend who would draft whatever players he wanted to acquire later in the year.
Yeah.
And just set up.
You hearing this, everybody?
Yeah.
There's a tell-all here if you didn't know. That's where he kind of gets that success.
Yeah.
We'll get into Oilers Penguins. We'll get into Elks Argos a bit as well. We will get into the World Series, as I mentioned. Fan Zone 7:30. An interesting little, not even a debate. I wouldn't even call it an argument, a disagreement perhaps on this year's World Series. I mentioned Cleveland and the Mets. I'd take a spoonful of that. I'm telling you. Well, it's
like a teaspoon.
A teaspoon, yeah. Well, you don't want to OD on that. That's a lot of good stuff there. But we will get into the World Series now in a sense. We're cracking some packs courtesy Wayne Sports Cards. Check them out today. They're in that mini mall location right across from West Ed. You got the BP's Westgate. That's where Tommy will be Sunday for Oilers and Red Wings. Go check them out there. You got the Italian Center Shop. You got Mr. Barber. That's where Dusty gets his haircut.
That makes sense.
They talk NBA with him. He loves it. He can't resist, right? Yeah. Firehouse Subs as well, another great place to eat. And Wayne Sports Cards in there. Check them out today. We are going, as I mentioned, Frank Thomas rookie card hunting. I do believe this is the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card hunting pack, I think. And then we'll be going hunting, and I'll let YouTube Trev open this 3-pack here.
This one features a Warren Spahn puzzle.
Well... Contain your excitement if you can. 1989 Fleer baseball here. We're going Billy Ripken F-face card. It's the Billy Ripken card. He's holding the bat, and it says, I can't say it, but
F-U face.
F-U-C-K.
Whoa.
F-U-C-K. We couldn't do that at the old place. We can do that. The F-face card. It's got written on the bat. So, Trev, I'll give you these 3. You can look for the Billy Ripken here. And if you do get it...
A little, little French Connection UK there.
A lot of money for that Billy Ripken F. There's a couple of varieties, but 1990 Flair. You got 89. Is that what it is? I do believe.
You know what? There's no date on here.
I got the 10th anniversary. First card, Don Mattingly. Well, this is starting off right.
Wow.
Oh, look at this.
That's a good pull.
For Dave Jameson. Hey, the old Athletics. You got a baseball quiz on here. Love it. Go see Wayne today. Once again, they'll be having their advent calendars out as well. We'll be cracking packs every single day leading up to Christmas on this show beginning in December. But they always do some good stuff for the holidays. Mitch Williams. For your cubbies here. You can.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Wild thing.
Jack Howell, Carmen Castillo, Lloyd McClendon, Jack Morris, that great duster. Mark Grant. This is just a nice card sitting there.
Dick Schofield.
I love that California Angels logo. I like the CA, but I like that standard A with the halo. Very sharp.
Yeah. Andres Galarraga, Expos.
The big cat. That's a nice card.
That is a nice card. Yeah.
Drew Hull. Mark Langston, another Expo. Put that on the pile.
Oh, little Eddie Murray. Good ball player.
Love to see it. Don Mattingly. There's the Mattingly. For the Yankees. I'll give that to Iwanek today. He'll be pleased.
Simpsons. Steve Sachs.
Steve Sachs. You just don't know when to quit, do you, Saxy boy? I'm telling you, of all they all have a good story on that episode, but I think his is one of the best.
Sexy boy.
He just gets railroaded there, hey? Like,
Oh, Dennis Eckersley.
love it.
Monster.
Hell of an arm.
Ha! Seinfeld.
Danny.
Danny Tartable.
That's the pledge drive, is it not? Doesn't he show up that Jerry's got to bring him for the pledge drive or something like that? Danny Tartable.
Sandy Alomar Jr. I'm not sure which Sandy Alomar, but
It's not the.
well, Sandy played for forever. And Dave Martinez, Expos. Nice. That's a great
Oh, we got a
pack.
couple expos.
Yeah, that's a great pack.
We got a Yankee for Iwanic.
Yeah.
Did you get a Billy Ripken F face in there?
I did not. The only noticeable player I got, Jose Canseco.
That's a pretty noticeable player.
From
Pretty
Twitter.
Pretty sick.
From you may know him from his Twitter account.
Man,
gonna
that
say-
account is still going.
Yeah, doesn't he have
is-
Twitter?
Oh, he is nuts. Let's just see what Canseco's been cooking up lately. He had that car wash for years, remember?
Yeah.
You can join me down at the...
Bob Walk, Darnell Coles, Ozzie Smith, Wade Boggs, Bill Long. Any familiar names there? I don't know.
Did you say Boggs?
Boggs. Wade Boggs.
I'll take a little Boggs.
Yeah.
Hey? Canseco tweeting on October 19th, congratulations to the New York Yankees on making their first World Series appearance since 2009. He doesn't like
Is
Otani
it Wade
either.
Boggs who had the 30 beers on one flight?
Yeah. And a whole roast chicken or whatever it was.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the better Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Always Sunny in
episodes.
Philadelphia. They tried to recreate the legendary Wade Boggs flight. Can you drink 30 beers in one flight?
That guy have a double Ryan Coke. What are you drinking Ryan Cokes for? Well, I just want something sweet with the chicken. Great episode. Yeah. Jose Canseco tweeting on October 13th. My name is Jose Canseco. The legend continues. But a great pack. Great packs. No Billy Ripken.
No,
F-face.
but there's some winners in there, man.
Absolutely. We thank Wayne and the staff
You
down
just
at
don't know
Wayne's
when to
Cards.
quit, do you, sexy boy?
It's enough out of you, Sax. Sitting in the cell alone, hey? That one, the Griffey with the giganticism is pretty good. I don't mind Ozzie Smith going into that hole of mystery and
Yeah.
falling. And Canseco has to, the lady's house is burning down, and he's taking out her appliances and stuff. And
Who is it who really enjoys working at the power plant? Because it's lower stress. I can't remember who that.
oh, man. I just like working at the plant. Yeah, but you're a ringer. Yeah. Oh, man, that's going to bother me. Ball players. Simpsons episode at, what was it? Homer at the bat?
Yeah. Or Homer at the plate.
Homer at the bat. Who's that other player? I have to get to the bottom of this right
There's
now.
a song that has all of the names.
Mr. Bird's not at the power plant. I wanted to. Mark Mageau knows this, and he is just screaming right now.
He is probably.
Who? Because we're never going to return to this topic on the show this morning. We had a lot of other stuff to get to. Who was that player? Somebody will... No, not Sosa. Yeah, Ozzie Smith. Who's got it? Who's the player that works at the power plant from Homer at the bat? Mike Socha.
Mike Socha. That's right.
And he gets, will I be able to play softball again? Oh, no, you won't be. You'll be lucky to walk. Oh, man. What an episode. Mike Socha. Thank you, everybody. That's the support we need. Strawberry crying in the field. Yeah, no, that was one of the better Simpsons episodes. Thanks for walking us down that memory lane. 6:50 here on the Nielsen Show. Once again, coming to you live from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio. Maybe one of those texts just saying Mike Socha. A la Jose Canseco. We'll give you text of the day. As mentioned, A&W right now. What's better than one A&W Mama Burger made with a perfectly seasoned grass-fed beef patty topped with pickles, a slice of onion, ketchup, mustard, and teen sauce served on a toasted sesame seed bun? 2 Mama Burgers for only $9.99. And once again, it is game day, so you get the $5 Mama Burger and fries deal today at A&W. And a cool little thing as well that popped into my inbox yesterday on Halloween. If you do have some young ones out there and you're looking for a little pre-meal prior to trick-or-treating, I do believe A&W will be offering free kids' meals at select locations. So check that out as well. A&W feeding you, getting you set for Halloween night. and taking the kids out. So once again, free kids meals at A&W on October 31. But today, game day, $5 Mama Burger and fries. Come hard after that text of the day, and perhaps maybe just a simple "Guys, it's Mike Sosha" text for helping me out there. Thank you very much. Couldn't leave that segment without knowing who he was. What an outstanding episode. Thank you for bringing that up as well. That coupled with the always sunny in Philadelphia, Wade Boggs.
Yeah,
Two great
like I said,
baseball.
and we had a Danny Tartable. We covered the bases.
We got the
man.
whole pack.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, that Tartable episode too is really good. Is that where Jerry's grandma made? Don't do it. Don't make the donation. You can't afford it or whatever. Jerry, we have your grandma on the line. Oh God, I'm loving this. Thanks for coming in today, Will. We're having a great time. Eric, trim those sideburns. Yeah, isn't that just it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Listen, Mr. Burns, I don't think you know his sideburns. Oh, man. Oilers,
I
Penguins.
still like him better than Steinbrenner.
Still like him better than Steinbrenner. Yeah, mumbling and walking away with the shaved sides. 6:52. We will get into some NHL talk, as mentioned. 7:05ish. Chris Johnston at TSN. We'll go around the horn, specifically Oilers, Penguins. A little bit of a pre-scout on the Pens, of course. Sid the Kid, Evgeny Malkin, yes, Puljujärvi, to name a few. But who and what are the Penguins this season? We'll get more on that with Johnston as well. Four Nations. The jerseys released yesterday. You got any hot takes on those? I mean, are you done with the retro Canada look here? Do you want to go back to the skate and the hockey player inside the Maple Leaf, or where you come out on that, if at all?
Listen, I'm always attracted to the new, right? Like a jersey becomes legendary when legendary things are done in it.
True.
Like so, make the jersey important. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Because it's not important until something important is done in it.
It's got to be iconic after the iconic moments or moment. I don't. Again, like USA's got USA on it. Finland's got the Suomi. Whatever. That's fine. Sweden, of course, the Three Crowns. I mean, nothing too. Canada, Trev, do you have a take on these at all?
Trace crowns.
Trey Crown, yeah. Canada, you got the classic Maple Leaf with Canada stenciled inside. Do you rank these at all, Trev? Do you like anyone more particular than the other? Do you have any take on these whatsoever?
I love. Oh yeah, that's good. I'm just looking at it now. So yeah, that's nice. Finland's. I like that.
It's going to help with the next update, I think.
Well,
yeah.
It's nice, right? It's just, but
like those are
too...
classic look. Obviously, the Swedes.
They're all
always,
clean.
Like those are clean.
Yeah.
The only one, like I've never been big like USA. Like
Sure.
I like just USA. I don't know. I'm not too big on that. I think it's a little bit more of a boring jersey. But Canada's. I mean, the new look. It's pretty modern. I like it. I think it's fresh. I think it looks slick. I cannot wait to see Sid and McDavid wear these. It's going to be cool. But I like what you said.
Sid's got to be captain, right? As McDavid said, right?
Obvious pick. I like that.
You got to give it to the old man, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't see.
It's not
no
his
question.
time yet. Yeah.
You mean the guy who scored the golden goal?
Hey, he's got it until
he's a winner.
he rides off into the sunset, right? Like we're all in agreement with that. I think
That's his team.
Even you dyed in the wool Oilers fans, right? Like we give it up to royalty here.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense not to have him. I mean, if he's going to be on the team, he should be your
Be
captain.
the captain. Yeah, you can't take that away.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Canadian jersey is so nice. It's retro but modern looking. That comes in from Party on the Nasty Chat. Is any relation to there?
Oh yeah, that's my brother.
That's your hello. Is
Shout
that the
out,
guy?
bro. How's it going,
is that
bro?
the 911?
Older brother, younger brother?
Older brother. Yeah, he's a 911 dispatch.
That's a cool. I've always been
Huge shout out
interested
to
in
the
that
bro.
job.
Love you lots.
He's a 911 dispatcher.
Oh yeah, he's he loves it. Some days are obviously
Is
better
shift
than
work
others.
correct? Is that kind of
Yeah. So he'll work his schedule's just sporadic. It's all over the place, but he likes it for the most part.
I've only dealt with a 911 operator maybe twice.
like you on the other end?
Yeah, and both times it was me progressively getting more and more frustrated because I kept asking for an ambulance to be sent, and the operator kept going, "Yeah, so I'm going to connect you through to the police," and I'd just be like, "I don't. There's a person having a psychotic break. They need an ambulance, not a cop."
There's a bit of a script that they go by. I think. Hey, like a procedure, I guess that you have to.
I'm sure. Listen, I wasn't critical of the person per se, but
It's
probably
the system.
The system.
The system. Yeah. You could have talked with his brother. You don't even know.
Well,
I mean, this could have been
yeah, we probably.
ships in the night.
Yeah, exactly.
Vaughn says, so funny when Bart and Lee start chanting Daryl before he starts crying. These major league players, it rolls off their back.
Yeah, old Daryl Strawberry. Yeah.
God, I could talk about this for the remainder of the show, really. But we will not. We will move on.
Season 3. That's when that episode took place. Season 3.
Look, it's seasons 2 to 7. That's
Yeah.
all you need. You can go a little bit off 7. I get it. You can maybe go as far as 10, but 2 to 7, that's a well-balanced diet.
There's some gold out there especially in their Halloween episodes further on. But yeah, the canon of the show, you're right, it's developed in those Conan O'Brien years. Like, yeah.
Oh, and your brother's offering me to come do a sit-along. I would love that. He's in
still
town,
waiting.
Is he?
No, he's in Lethbridge. That's the only thing. It would be tough to make it work.
Dispatches out of Lethbridge. Hey?
Yep. Yep. Oof is right.
We'll just...
Yeah, I haven't even done a sit along with him yet.
That is a lot of auger mishaps.
Oh yes, it's a good way to put it.
And feedlot disasters. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no.
The old green bin. Well, we shall move on. Let's hit a sports update. We'll return to give ourselves enough time for Chris Johnston, I guess. He's not in the bullpen yet, is he? No, yeah, that's okay. We'll hit a sports update here. Take your time, Trev. Educate the people on what they need to know, everything that went on last night, and set up the night's events. Of course, YouTube Trev will have your GCL Diesel pre- and post-game show tonight. Tommy will be sidelines at Commonwealth, Elks and Argos, but YouTube Trev will be handling the reins alongside Hernan Salas tonight. GCL Diesel pre- and post coming your way 6 o'clock here on Edmonton Sports Talk and our YouTube channel. And you can join Trev after tonight's game as well, breaking everything down on the post-game show. Lieutenant Eric Wil with Wil Fraser in the hot seat today, and YouTube Trev as well behind the monitors, keeping it locked down. 6:58. This is the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Last night in the NHL, Warren Foegele scored a pair, including the game winner. Kings take their home opener 3-2 over the Sharks. 2 goals from Dylan Holloway and 1 goal from Philip Broberg helped lead the Blues to a 5-1 victory last night over the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Winnipeg Jets improved to 7-0 on the season with a 4-3 win in overtime in Seattle. Nikolai Ehlers had the game-winning goal in that one. The Hurricanes double up on the Flames 4-2, handing Calgary its first regulation loss of the season. And tonight, 4 games in the NHL, including the Oilers and Penguins, McDavid and Crosby from Rogers Place as Edmonton looks to snap a 2-game slide. Hernan Salas has your GCL Diesel pre- and post-game shows with coverage starting at 6 here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Over to the NFL last night, Minnesota Vikings fall on the road in LA, 30-22 the Rams. The Vikings fall to 5-2 on the season, while the Rams improve to 3-4. The final week of the CFL regular season starts tonight with a doubleheader. Tiger Cats visit Red Blacks. Kickoff for this one is at 5. And the Elks round out their season at home versus the Toronto Argonauts. Matt Iwanek and Jason Milne will be live from Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge with the Green and Gold kickoff show. Coverage begins at 6:30 on the Edmonton Sports Talk YouTube channel. And to finish things off, the World Series opens tonight from LA between the Dodgers and Yankees. Garrett Cole starts for New York while Jack Flaherty gets the ball for LA. First pitch, 6:08. The Sports Update brought to you by Greenplan, providing you with award-winning environmental and consulting services, whether it's municipal, industrial, or residential. Plan it right with Greenplan. Visit greenplan.com or give them a call at 780-455-4292. It's okay. Not bad.
I got a big shot off this stick of mine. I keep those lanes wide open all the time. Drysidle setting up shop, McDavid's flying. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line. As sure is new, G is slick and Kane is tough. We're going all the way this year, enough is enough. And we can play 'em straight or we can play 'em rough. I'm feeling fine when I walk the line. You know I shoot that puck so very, very hard. The name on the back of my jersey says Bouchard. And we're gunning for first place, not a wild card. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line. Well, we're counting on our skill and not on luck. And it's gonna get real when they drop that puck. And we won't be done until we hoist the cup. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line. I got a big shot off this stick of mine. I keep those lanes wide open all the time. Drysidle setting up shop, McDavid's flying. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line.
We are humming 7:03 on the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com streaming. Hopefully the streaming issues for you have been corrected. iHeart and TuneIn radio apps, and of course, always crystal clear on the YouTube. Hit the sub, hit the like this morning. Nasty Chat is humming along. It's good to see. It's a Friday. We're all feeling good. I know our next guest was bobbing around as well. That's Chris Johnston. He'll be by here in a matter of minutes here, but that was Dallas from Nelson. With that song. He's got a good collection of songs. You mentioned you like the Johnny Cash as when you go out running. The cadence is nice for the timing and everything.
Yeah, it's a good jog artist. You can't sprint, Johnny Cash, but you can settle into a rhythm.
You can get that's Trevor knows it. Yeah, there you go. You hit it there. Lieutenant Eric Wil Fraser in for Dustin Nielsen today, and YouTube Trev behind the monitor. Should mention as well, and I kind of forgot, it is a busy show, lots going on. We were talking Simpsons, cracking some packs, and some ball, but we will have your next chance. The key word coming up pretty much just after Chris Johnston here for your EST flyaway. And you know the score here. We're going to be sending you and a friend, a relative, a loved one, whomever you want to bring if you do win, down to L.A. over the Christmas holidays. And it's a nice little sports lineup we've got cooked up for you, namely the Intuit Dome. You saw that the other night, did you, Will? Steve Ballmer's newest plaything, but you'll get to see Warriors at Clippers via the Intuit Dome. All of that's on the app. It's all cashless, ticketless, paperless. So Warriors, Clippers, you'll have a chance at that. Cardinals, Rams, a little NFL action. You saw last night the Rams with a big win over the Vikings down in Inglewood, but you'll get to see that divisional game. Plus the orange and blue, the blue and orange, Edmonton at either one of LA, who played their home opener last night. A couple of goals from Warren Fogle. I know everybody wants us to mention that. Or visiting the Ducks as well. So a nice sports buffet all down in L.A. It's the EST Flyway to L.A. You and a friend winning a trip to Los Angeles. We'll have the keyword coming up middle of this hour. It's presented by the 780. Check them out today, 780.com. Great little shop, multiple shops, brick and mortar shops in and around Edmonton. Let's get to TSN's Chris Johnston right now. It's brought to you by the fine folks at Pro-Am Sports. You can check them out today. Locally owned and operated memorabilia and apparel specialists. Have the boys at Pro-Am sew a name and number on your jersey, maybe one of the new Four Nations kits, current name legends, or even your own. Visit them in-store to get started on your project, located in Edmonton, corner of St. Albert Trail, 128th Ave, online at proamsports.ca. As we welcome in Chris Johnston, TSN. We saw you bobbing your head there in the bullpen, Chris. Are you a big Cash fan, country music, or just kind of liking the tune and the beat and the rhythm of that particular song?
I would say all of the above. Love Johnny Cash. have lots of appreciation for country music, and this is back-to-back weeks. You had Hakuna McDavid before I was on last week, and now we've got that one. I actually went and was listening to Hakuna McDavid offline after we finished the hit last week. So it's it's very catchy. I get points for creativity.
Yeah, well, Christmas is coming, and we do have a couple of the greatest hits CDs lying around, so maybe we'll have to throw something in the mail for you there, Chris. But let's get down to the business here. It is Oilers and Penguins tonight. Sidney Crosby in town. Of course, a lot of people, is it the last? Will it be the last? Who knows when it's the last time you can catch him here out west. Jesse Puljujarvi as well, compiling a good season early on. Looks like he's healthy again. But just from a outside the Western glance, what can you tell us a little pre-scout, aside from Sid, aside from Jesse, about this Penguins team that we'll be seeing tonight here in Edmonton?
Well, they've got all kinds of troubles in net. I think that's probably been the biggest story for the Penguins to start this year. They signed Kristen Jarry before last season to a big contract. When it got to the most important games of last year, he had been supplanted by Alex Nedeljkovic, who played 12 of the final 13 games for Pittsburgh as they were trying to get in the playoffs. And so you come back this season, and Nedeljkovic was injured initially, and the thought was, okay, Jarry, fresh start, as you do in training camp in every market, he did this in the summer, changed his routine. He's going to be ready. And then, within 3 games, they had a young goaltender named Joel Blomqvist who supplanted him in the net. And so right now they arrive in Edmonton with 3 different goalies. Usually when you have 3 on the roster, it's not a good sign. I mean, obviously it can be injury. Sometimes it's salary cap related, but in this case, the Penguins are trying to sort things out in goal. As for Crosby, I think, there's got to be a lot of hype around the game. Even for anyone that doesn't have any horse in the fight, just when you have 2 of the sort of all-time greats on the ice, it happens twice a year at most, assuming that these teams don't meet in the Stanley Cup final somewhere down the road. Just the way the scheduling works, they're not going to play a lot. And so the opportunity to see Crosby and McDavid in the same game, it's not head-to-head. We're not measuring who can have more goals or points or shots, but it's just kind of a special occasion. And, of course, I think maybe a little differently this year. I saw, obviously, the quotes from Connor yesterday about the Four Nations tournament, because we're going to see them more on the ice together this year because they'll actually be teammates for the first time in February.
Is Pittsburgh as tied to Crosby as Edmonton is to McDavid, in that you look at the Oilers, you look at their early season struggles, and you even going back to last year, you can tie it directly to early season struggles for Connor McDavid. Is it the same sort of thing in Pittsburgh? And if so, is tonight's game maybe exactly what the doctor ordered for both of those players?
Well, it won't hurt, but I think where it's problematic in Pittsburgh, big picture, is that it's not tied to Sidney Crosby anymore. Okay. I mean, last year, for a player of his age, he had a tremendous season. I can't remember where he ended points-wise, but it was somewhere around 90 points, which is just not something, someone 19 years into their career should be expected to do. He still was pulling his end of the rope and then some, and they still missed the playoffs for the second straight season. I think, where it's getting more troublesome for the Penguins, and I think it's almost a bit more of an existential question for that franchise, is you still have this guy who means so much to the organization and to the city. He wants to play there, obviously, but you just might not have enough around him, and there might not be an easy way to solve those problems or make that happen while you still have this window where, he's still a pretty elite player. Whereas, I think, in Edmonton, it's been obviously a slower start, but I don't think you don't have quite the existential crisis around everything. I think that, you can look at it reasonably. I mean, it wasn't so long ago, it felt like Colorado was never going to win a game. All of a sudden they're at 500. I mean, I just sort of think that the early sort of sluggish start for the Oilers, maybe some of the players like Hyman, maybe even a little bit McDavid, will just take care of itself the more games that are played. In Pittsburgh, the problems might be more fundamental and, something that even an all-time great player like Crosby can't remedy.
TSN's Chris Johnston joining us here on the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric Wil Fraser with you. Sticking with tonight's game here in Edmonton and talking about the Oilers. Will mentioned struggles. I mean, we saw a shakeup in practice with the power play units as well, kind of moving pieces around there, albeit leaving Draisaitl and McDavid together. When you look at this Oilers team as well, and we talked to you last week coming off that win down in Nashville, which that was a tough 2-gamer, of course, losing in Dallas, and then the other night, a backbreaker in overtime to a real good Carolina Hurricanes team. We kind of were debating who they are and what they were, and we saw that fully Tuesday night. But when you look at this Oilers team now, since we last spoke, special teams, I mean, Jeff Skinner's been moved around too. in the 5-on-5 up and down the top 9. Where do you see right now the biggest concern for you for this Oilers team? And if it is just simple as special teams and getting that power play clicking tonight?
Well, I mean, I think that's the quickest way. Like immediately, if your power play starts clicking the way the Oilers' power play did for the last few seasons, and especially last year, it's an extra goal a game almost, basically from where they're at. I mean, that would be a way. Maybe you're not even in overtime against the Hurricanes in that alternate universe that I'm imagining. So I think in terms of things that are right in front of them that we know this group of players, can function at a level, the best in the league in that area. I mean, I think that's got to be a huge priority, and I'm sure it is for them to sort out. And so I think that I would start there. And as I say, like I'm still not from afar that worried about Edmonton. I realize we can open the standings page on NHL.com, and it doesn't look great. They're down towards the bottom when you're hanging out with San Jose. That's not where a team like Edmonton wants to be. But I just think, reasonably speaking, if we give them enough games here, a lot of these things will sort themselves out. But I think the power play, because the power play can be such a confidence thing, especially for top players. I mean, it's a place obviously a lot of points come from. I think all those players will say they don't care about the points, but they're also aware when they're not getting them. And so it's not necessarily about an ego thing, but it's just, you're counted on to produce. And so, I do think a confident team, a team with especially high-end offensive players like the Oilers has, when the power play is clicking, it's helping on the scoreboard, but I think it helps between the ears too. And, when it's not working, I think a lot of questions get asked. Internally, you're having meetings, you're looking at film, and some of it, I mean, obviously there's a scheme that a team takes into a power play, but also a lot of it is freelancing and using your ability. And so, they got to find the flow state, I would say, with their power play, and they obviously don't have that yet.
I think another thing, too, that's irking fans, and especially this morning, another morning and another night around the NHL where you see Warren Foegele bag 2 in the Kings home opener, including the winner. Broberg and Holloway can't slow down. Ryan McLeod's off to a flyer in Buffalo. I mean, that just kind of compounds on the frustration to a slow start, does it not?
It must. And let's face it, if the Oilers have a deficiency, again, big picture, they're a pretty old team. The prospect pipeline, or the younger player pipeline, was robbed a little bit this summer, some by their own doing, the other, of course, by those dual offer sheets that the Blues targeted with, and then ultimately were successful. And I'm sure it can't be nice to see a player go elsewhere and get more opportunity to play and blossom under that. I mean, that's what offer sheets are meant to be. Obviously, this league has just not seen a lot of them, but that's actually meant. It's the same as waivers. I mean, people might not like waivers, but it's really, if a player is good enough for another team, but he's not getting a chance where he is, it's usually a chance to go, hey, he can be claimed somewhere else and have a career. This is kind of how it's supposed to work, but it kind of stinks when you're a fan maybe of those players, or you were hopeful for them when you see someone like Broberg, selected in the top 10 and whatever that was 5 years ago, and now he's becoming an actual player and he could have been on your team. I'm sure that those sorts of things stick in the craw, but that's kind of the way it bounces. I mean, it can go the other way too. Maybe Jeff Skinner will end up having a big year in Edmonton, and Sabres fans will be like, where was that when we were paying you X amount of dollars? So, I mean, that's kind of the name of the game in fandom.
It is a copycat league. What happened with the Oilers last year, I think, has tempered everyone's panic when it comes to the Oilers, because that they have the ability to flip a switch when they want to. But they did end up firing a coach last year. And I'm curious, do you see that influencing other teams and their slow starts this year? Does it turn the heat up on other head coaches when they can look at what the Oilers did last year, firing their head coach and then going to a Game 7 of a Stanley Cup final and completely resurrecting their season? Or does everyone look and go, that's a McDavid team, we can't compare our team to that?
No, I think there's an element of it. I mean, you even look back, 5 years, Craig Berube came in mid-season with the Blues scuffling and wins a cup. I mean, it's clearly a tactic that has worked. I guess a lot of coaching changes, maybe nothing happens in a sense. Like you look at it and you're like, well, that's still the same team. But there's enough examples, I think, where you're like, wow, a new voice, whatever was, it's not that the other person wasn't doing a great job, or like, it's not the other person had no answers and Chris Knobloch had all the answers. I think it's sometimes just a fresh, bit of air blowing through the building that can help. And you look at teams like Boston, kind of a scuffling start. Obviously, there's been a little bit of speculation now about Jim Montgomery. I think especially markets where the idea is you have to win now, and you might have a coach there that's been there. I mean, what's crazy is it used to be maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then the coach is maybe on the hot seat. Now it's like, if you've been there 2 years and you're not getting results, sometimes those questions start to get asked. I mean, we've just seen a lot of.
Oh, I think he froze up.
It's the coaching talk. Somebody's gotten to him.
Kind of change.
Oh,
but
there we go.
Sorry, little lag there.
Yep.
But I was just saying, everywhere but Tampa, you're making a change every couple of years. It's just kind of the way it's been. And the only recipe John Cooper found in Tampa is getting to 4 Stanley Cup finals since 2015. So if you do that, you'll be employed for a while. But I do think that it does up the pressure and especially teams that are trying to absolutely win everything this year. If they get to November and they're flagging to some of the top players, maybe aren't performing, I do think those coaches are definitely feeling heat.
Speaking of coaching changes as well, and one in Winnipeg, to which it was just a passing off of the baton from Bowness to Arniel now. But the Jets, I mean, when do they lose here, Chris? 7-0 now, winning again last night out in Seattle. I mean, we all know about Connor Hellebuck and the goaltending and the well-roundedness of that lineup, but how much do you subscribe to Arniel maybe breathing in not fresh air, but just maybe a different type of air into that locker room and into that team?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? Because he was on the bench. He was sort of hired with the idea that he was going to take over. I mean, it's not what we typically see. I mean, I think sometimes there's that understanding that, hey, if this things go bad, we've got this person over here that'll be the interim coach. But this was almost a succession plan. Yeah, with Rick Bowness being where he was, and I mean, I must admit, I sleep on the Jets a little bit. I mean, they had such a good season last year. It ended in the first round, so maybe that influenced how I saw it. But they've kind of picked up where they left off. I mean, they flirted with some disaster last night. They blew a 2-goal lead in the third period before winning that game in overtime. But full credit to them. I think that, to me, the Western Conference, there's a lot of opportunity there for a team to maybe surprise this year. I think we all talk about Edmonton and Dallas. Maybe you get a little Vegas and Colorado love, but it's, to me, there's. I'm just not sure yet who's going to be in the group of 6 to 8 teams that are really good, and I think that this is a great opportunity for the Jets to step into that window. They've got an interesting situation. Nikolai Ehlers, who scored their overtime winner last night, he's in the last year of his current contract. Not clear where that's going to go. I mean, there's, I think, a little urgency in Winnipeg. Obviously, they had some attendance issues even at home last year. I think that they understand they need to be a competitive team. And so, they're off to a flying start. And, it's been very smooth, I'd say, that transition from Bowness to Arniel. And a team that maybe doesn't have the absolute superstar punch, but, there's just not a lot of weakness to be found top to bottom in that lineup. And, I certainly had them pegged as a playoff team, but I didn't think they'd be at the top of the league, this deep into the season.
Well, Chris, we'll leave it there, man. We appreciate your time this morning. Have a good weekend. And if I can't find any of those compilation mix CDs, I'll have to end up burning one myself for you. But Christmas is coming, so.
I love that. I'm sure that it'll be a good gift for me. Maybe not for my partner when I'm playing that in the house, but
whatever. Yeah, do it when she's gone.
She'll live with it.
Yeah. Have a good weekend, Chris. Thanks for your time, man.
Thanks, Chris.
You too. Enjoy the game tonight.
TSN's Chris Johnston, courtesy Pro-Am Sports this morning. Always a great ad this season as well to our lineup of hockey insiders and analysts throughout the week. He's feeling it. Loves the music, loves the tunes, gets the vibe, so we appreciate his time as always. Brought to you once again by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. Maybe those Four Nations jerseys, bring them down there. Have the team at Pro-Am, so a name or number on it. Current name, legends, or even your own. Visit them in-store to get started. Located Edmonton, corner of St. Albert Trail, 128th Ave, or online at proamsports.ca. 7:20. Do we usually do the keyword? Is it prior to the sports update, after the sports update? I know I'm here every day,
like right
but I
before
just
the
zone
sports
out.
update.
We'll do it now because
Okay.
you usually get the person during the update or something,
Correct.
right? Like, yeah, so we're going to have to do this a little different. Well, let's do the word right now. Then we'll get into, we'll do the word now. We'll visit Coolbet a bit. And you
Yep.
can,
Do it now!
We'll do it now. And
Yes, yes, Mister.
I will. I love your yelling it too. The off mic yelling is some of the best. So once again, it's the EST Flyway to LA. If you don't know yet, if you are just joining us today, we're going to send you and somebody you love, or maybe somebody you want to mend fences with, down to L.A. Wouldn't that be something? December 26th to 30th. It's a great time, right? Everybody's got it off.
Read the fine print, though, folks. All I've heard is that they're sending you there. There's been no word of return flight. So just make sure you read the fine print.
Hockey, basketball, football, plus flights, plural.
Yeah, for 2 people.
Hotel and a rental car. I know the rental car back at the old place was always a big.
We have
big
2 plane tickets for you. Now you can use one for your flight home, or you can bring a friend.
Put him in the carry-on. Yeah. You can qualify up to 4 times daily. That means we'll be having it right now. We'll have it on the Hangout as well. We'll have it afterwards, Lock Shop, and later on as well. 2 Guys in a Goalie, Oil Stream. All those shows, 4 times daily. You can qualify as much times as you want. So be by your phone. Again, we're going to give you a word here momentarily. The key is when we give you the word and you text it in, remain by your phone. We've had instances, you'll love this, where somebody texts in the word. Yeah. They'll get a phone call from a number they may not recognize or may not be in contact with. Oh, I can't pick this up. I'm waiting for the call.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't understand it, and it drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
So
you ever want to inadvertently offend someone and not have them not understand why they're offended by you? Phone them when they were expecting a text. They're just upset by it.
Well, these days, nobody likes talking on the phone at all. But again, I can't stress enough. If you text in today's keyword, be by your phone. If you see a number pop up you don't recognize, pick up the call.
Try it.
Take the call.
Yeah.
If it's not us, if it's, hello, sir, what are you voting for?
Maybe you do need your heating ducts cleaned. First of all.
You never know.
Listen, you may find yourselves with cleaner ducts and a trip.
You can always hang up.
Yeah.
You can always drop the call.
Yeah.
It is presented by the 780. Check them out today as well. Great shop. I bought some of those Kuma lawn chairs from there.
Did you?
You ever been to one of these 780 stores?
Oh, yeah, man.
It's got it all.
Yeah.
Like if you ever, I've been saying this to Dusty, if you ever need, I need to buy this person a gift.
Yeah.
You go in there with no idea. You come out with multiple ideas. It's a beautiful thing. So check them out today. The 780 homegrown local shop right here in Edmonton. Both the shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. They also work with close to 100 local vendors, which is always nice. From the 780 area code, help them promote, get their brands off the ground. Check them out online at the word 7, the numbers 80.com, or any of the 5 locations, which are at Southgate, Londonderry, the one that I was at, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport. And those Kuma lawn chairs, man, it's great quality.
Make sure you bring them in, though. That winter sun will destroy them. Don't you leave them outside.
Keep them in the garage.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that seatbelt material is just top notch. Your keyword, are you by your phones? Be by your phone right now. We're going to give you got it loaded up there. Love it, Trev. Trev's on the ball. Today's keyword, October 25. I didn't get it right on the Hangout the other day, and I want to almost...
Son of a gun.
Here, you can read it. You're the guest.
Arvidsson. Yeah. Where would you put the emphasis? I mean, it's,
the umlaut?
Yeah, it's Swedish. Is
Maybe
it not?
over the A and the R.
Arvidsson.
Yeah. Like a pirate.
I need to watch more of that show, The Bear. Not The Bear. No, what's the
cooking
hockey
show.
one? No, the hockey one. The Swedish hockey one. Tell me what I'm thinking of here.
Swedish hockey show. Letterkenny.
Yes. You're right. That famous Swedish hockey show, Letterkenny.
Letterkenny.
Yeah. Arvidsson is the word.
Text Arvidsson to 780.
There's 2 S's if you're asking. There's 2 S's.
Well, that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the other words today down the line. I mean, come on. We clearly got the hardest one of them all. I mean,
well, come on. What are we doing for Reed? He's a talented broadcaster. He can handle more than the word.
Throwing him these wiffle balls. Yeah. No, I mean Maddie makes the list. That should be enough answer for you there.
Yeah. Listen, the other ones make sense.
Well, they make sense, but I'm just saying they're not as hard. You don't have to say 2 S's or whatever.
Like Maddie can barely read, so I understand why he has a 4-letter word. And I mean, and the Chilean assassin. Actually, his phonics is incredible. So
it really is.
I think learning English as a second language has really paid off.
Text Arvidsson, 780-218-9999. YouTube Trev will be giving you a call. Again, I can't stress enough. If your phone rings, pick up the phone. Huh? You remember those commercials, eh? Late night.
You were poor. Yeah.
Late night, Biddy. Well, you got to get it where you
I
get
got
it.
4 channels, man. I'm just leaving it on all night.
I'm a lonely boy. Pick up the phone. I'm all alone. It is the EST Flyway to LA presented by the 780. Once again, a trip for 2, December 26th to 30th, the great cheese eating time of the holidays. Hockey, basketball, football. You got Warriors, Clippers, Intuit Dome, Cardinals, Rams from Inglewood, and Edmonton taking on one of the Kings or the Ducks.
I like the way you're saying it, by the way. It's better than the actual
Intuit?
word. Yeah.
Intuit.
Intuit is the word.
Oh.
You're
I'm
pronouncing it
saying
as Intuit.
Well, you got to get into it.
And I like that.
That's
actually a better, like...
That's what Steve Ballmer would want. Get
Yeah.
into it. It's a
getting
play on words.
into it.
You're getting into it. He
Yeah.
was into it. Did you see him the other night?
Yeah.
Holy
I'm
hell.
intuiting that's a better better way to pronounce it. Yeah.
Arvidsson, 780-218-9999.
Get into it.
Into it. We thank the 780 for their support there. It's time for the Coolbet Canada hotline of the day as well. Coolbet. TJ Hawkinson not hitting on the wheel. We have a wheel now that we spin. We put anytime touchdown scores on it for the prime time.
Sure.
And it's a little haunted right now, but it actually injured Chris Godwin on Monday. Because you'll spin it and then it'll go backwards. It needs an Allen key tightening. But TJ Hawkinson... Not getting it done last night, but we move. We will go on. I'm taking a look. Coolbet.com. Once again, Yankees and Dodgers tonight. Money line -25 for the Dodgers, +106 for the Yankees. Do you at all, Will, with 1L, subscribe to the Fernando Valenzuela passing to give a bit more of a, shall we say, I mean, these are 2 storied franchises, the pomp, the pageantry, everything else. This type of emotional start to the World Series with such a loud guy, a loud Dodger legend. Do you at all see that giving the Dodgers any sort of, I mean, it will give a bit of a bump to the fans and everything, but a psychological advantage in this series in any which way or form?
Not at all. No, I mean, these are 2 franchises that spent a boatload of money to get here and will continue to make boatloads of money by being here. And that is the impetus, is the fact that you have a chance at a World Series ring and justifying the money that you spent to get here. So
it will be a night, though. Vin Scully, Dodger Stadium. I just wish. I love watching those late night games with him on the call. Prime ticket.
I wouldn't say it's underrated, but we're talking a lot like Dodgers, Yankees, the cities themselves.
Yeah.
But don't forget, like, part of what's going to make this a fantastic World Series is it's 2 of the best stadiums in all of baseball.
Yeah.
Like, you are going to go night to night.
Absolute.
Kind of taking your seat in front of your television, but being in 2 of the better atmospheres you could ever ask for the grandest stage. Like, if you're a Houston Astros fan, God bless you, somebody has to be.
Norman Combine?
But that stadium stinks as far as as far as feel, history, vibe, all those types of things. So to see a World Series, the grand stage, in 2 of the best stadiums is going to be fantastic.
It's a roll of the dice. We saw what happened to the Trop here. I don't know where Tampa's going to be playing their games. I mean, it's you do what you have to do. You play where you have to play. But certainly baseball.
To quote Jerry Seinfeld on the issue, that's a shame.
I know. Look, there were tongue-in-cheek jokes here about maybe having them play games in Montreal at the Big O. Why not?
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah. Have you thought of Puerto Rico? It works so well.
Well, yeah. But ballparks, different dimensions. Everything's got a bit of a different feel to it,
What
which
makes
is nice.
baseball great.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, you make a good point here with both stadiums here, New Yankee Stadium, Dodger Stadium. It just adds another ingredient to this.
Like, if you shelled out the several $1,000s for the 80-inch or bigger, 120-inch 4K television.
Yep.
This is the exact moment you bought that television for. You want to see this World Series in all of its glory. The shots are going to be incredible.
What's that new sports bar where they have the big theater screen that you're there almost? Like you feel like you're there?
It's going to blow you away.
Yeah. So Dodgers, once again, -125 tonight on the money line. Over-under is 8.5. You can get a little action on that. And Dodgers -1.5 on the run line tonight. So have your say, be cool, bet responsibly up at CoolBet, and get a little action on the World Series. They got the NFL slate up as well for this weekend, and maybe a little CFL action. It gets really interesting tomorrow. Bombers visiting the Alouettes. Alouettes coming off a loss to the Lions. I know Jason Moss doesn't want a team going into the playoffs, losers of 2 straight. He'll have them fired up. Bombers need that win to get first in the West. They're coming off a bye. The second half of that doubleheader tomorrow night, Stamps, who are I mean, ABC. It's delicious to see.
They were never here.
They were never here, and we all, not even God bless them, we all love it. We can all relish in Stamp's failure this season and Dickinson sounding off with his swear words. But if Montreal
Who
beats
knew
Winnipeg...
he knew swear words?
Look, with that neck beard, you got to be having a few swear words in your repertoire, I would say, looking at yourself in the morning. Enough about the Stamps. But if Montreal beats Winnipeg, that game becomes more important for the Riders, and they could get first. So 2 important games, final week of the CFL regular season, albeit not tonight, but tomorrow. Of course, the Elks finishing off against the Argos tonight as well. So everything you need up at coolbet.com. Stay cool, bet responsibly with our friends at Coolbet. You got somebody, YouTube Trev? Update? Perfect, yeah. YouTube Trev's got a sports update for the great folks down at Park Mazda. Mitch Lewicki, hey?
Mitch Lewicki.
One of the best
beauty.
looking guys in the biz.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll have that for you. Trev will get you all set what you need to know. We'll be back with the Fan Zone and Herm Edwards on Week 8 in the NFL. This is the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric, Wil Fraser, YouTube Trev, EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Last night in the NHL, Warren Foegele scored a pair, including the game winner. Kings take their home opener 3-2 over the Sharks. 2 goals from Dylan Holloway and 1 goal from Philip Broberg helped lead the Blues to a 5-1 victory last night over the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Winnipeg Jets improved to 7-0 on the season with a 4-3 win in overtime in Seattle. Nikolai Ehlers had the game-winning goal. The Hurricanes double up on the Flames 4-2, handing Calgary its first regulation loss of the season. And tonight, 4 games in the NHL, including the Oilers and Penguins. It's McDavid and Crosby from Rogers Place as Edmonton looks to snap a 2-game slide. Hernan Salas has your GCL Diesel pre- and post-game shows with coverage starting at 6 here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Over to the NFL last night, Minnesota Vikings fall on the road to LA 30-20 to the Rams. The Vikings fall to 5-2 on the season, while the Rams improve to 3-4. The final week of the CFL regular season starts tonight with the doubleheader. Ticats visit the Red Blacks. Kickoff for this one at 5. And the Elks round out their season at home to the Argos. Matt Iwanek and Jay Milne will be live from Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge with the Green and Gold kickoff show. Coverage begins at 6:30 on Edmonton Sports Talk's YouTube channel. And to finish things off, the World Series opens tonight from LA between the Dodgers and Yankees. Garrett Cole starts for the New York Yankees while Jack Flaherty gets the ball for LA. First pitch at 6:08. The sports update brought to you by the great staff and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki. Mitch never used to use headlights until he met Wil Fraser. That's good, eh, Will? Hey?
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as newborn 8-pound, 6-ounce Mitch Lewicki. You can picture grown-up Mitch, or teenage Mitch, or bearded Mitch, or whoever you want.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Step closer to the hollow, the devil may care. If I showed you around my heart, would you mind if I shared to show you what's wrong with me? I will not change it. I will wait patiently while you get painted out. Let me into your untainted tribe, to be the one who gets to live a lie. Oh, let me lie with you. I'll be a perfect stranger. I wanna be that stupid boy that you don't talk about. You better believe there's a sharp knife beside my bed. You better believe there's a sharp knife inside my head. And if you would leave, I would take you by the hand. You and I would leave, but it wouldn't be that bad.
7:35 on the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, streaming on the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps and on YouTube. If you are on YouTube this morning and sitting back and watching the action, hit the thumbs up, hit a like. We're approaching 200 for the show. And if you haven't already as well, hit the subscribe button. We're approaching the 10.5K sub number. Trevor's going to get somebody on the line here for our EST to LA flyaway. Want to let you know as well, the Nielson Show, as always, presented by the fine folks down at South Fort Chevrolet. October's coming to end. October 25. We got 6 more days. My Rashog math do me right. Drive a little, save a lot. Go see Daniel, Claire, and the full team down there. We were down for Oktoberfest. Great staff. It's a cozy little dealership. You don't even need an intercom system. Everybody's close enough where you can kind of, it's like the office. It's great.
They have a Daniel and a Claire. Does it
nice.
get more nice than that?
It's a great place to be. Go out there, talk to them. They're really fun. Well, this Daniel guy, I don't know if you know, he's got all these Nerf guns in his office.
Okay,
and like Gatling, like Gatling guns.
Yeah.
You got to get them off the dark web. But it's fun. It's a fun time down there.
That is the least hardcore dark web thing you could search for.
We peppered Tommy with them. He's still got the marks. Employee pricing though for the remainder of October. So time is running out. You can save up to $15,000 on select models. More information, check them out online, www.southfortchev.com. And props to their social media team because they are knocking it out of the park. Just like Mike Sosa used to do. Great social media. Follow them on Instagram. I know we do a lot of collabs with them on there and on Twitter. Tell them EST sent you, and you also get an additional $1,000 credit on your trade-in vehicle, Will. If you got any beaters around the compound.
That's all I have. I have teenage sons. I literally have 2 wrecked cars in my front yard right
Fraser
now.
and Sons Auto Wreckers.
Yeah.
So you've got that full field. If I need a rack and
my
peanut
youngest
steering,
went through 2 cars in 6 months.
I remember you came in here one day and you were kind of, well, not stressed, but you had a tale of a bit of an accident or something that you needed to take care of there. But and again, if people don't know, his sons, all grown up? Empty nest, correct? Or
No.
Still one?
The 17-year-old graduates high school this year. Hopefully. We'll see.
You brought them back by the old place and they were just like,
oh, yeah.
Knee high to a grasshopper.
Yeah. My one son, I think he was like 3 the first time that he was ever at the radio station. And this is before Uke or Dustin even had an idea that they could have children. They were pretty sure they had done enough damage that it was not going to be feasible. So I left my son Brett with them and went and did a hit over on the Bear. And I come back like 10 minutes later, and they are just having a conversation, and my son Brett's just gabbing away with them. And Yukon looks at me, he's like, "You've got the funniest kid, man." Like, he just looked at us randomly and was like, "Sometimes I pee my pants." And they're like, "It's the funniest thing in the world." And so I look at my kid and I'm like, "Do you need to go to the bathroom?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, this is how kids talk." Like, when they look at you and go, "Sometimes I pee my pants," they're not giving you a punchline. They're giving you a heads up. In that, like, if you don't take me to the bathroom really soon, I'm going to pee my pants.
Oh, a bit of a hidden meaning into that phrase. Oh, kids say the darndest things.
No, they don't. They give you really clear clues
facts
to what's going on.
Yeah. And now you'll know that Marshall is a big swimmer. He's in the aquatics. We call him the Barracuda now.
He should be.
He's a pro swimmer. Yeah. Looks like an adult
be.
in the drink.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
We do.
Yes.
Who have a qualifier
have
today
on the line?
Right now we have Andy on the line.
Andy, how you doing?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Can't complain. You know Wil Fraser from the old days, do you?
No, not I.
Okay.
Oh, you're not that
You're
old.
a noob.
Andy, do you have a collection of toys that sometimes come to life and talk to you?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right.
There's a snake in my boot.
Well, you keep exploring some of the neurotropics out there, and maybe it'll happen for you one of these days. Good luck.
Andy, I just wanted to ask as well, do you have a specific individual? If you do win this EST flyaway to LA, Warriors, Clippers, Cardinals, Rams, Edmonton, at either the Kings or the Ducks, flights, hotel, rental car, everything else, December 26th to 30, who would you choose to bring?
I was talking with the wife about it the other day, and I thought I'd take her first, but if not, I'd take a buddy of mine.
A buddy of yours. Work buddy? Just friend buddy type of thing?
Old-time buddy from high school.
Old-time buddy.
I've known him for about 20 years.
You spend enough time with your family over the holidays, you should probably spend some time with the buddy, I would say, hey?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If his family lets him go.
Yes. Well, it should be a good time if you are in. Andy, once again, remember, you can qualify multiple times. So keep on trying, and good luck, man.
Thanks so much.
Get into it.
Okay. All my hot takes yesterday were regarding Steve Ballmer doing whippets.
Yeah.
And nobody seemed to pick up on it. He was losing his mind at the Intuit, and he paid for it all himself.
Yeah. Do you think there's a better hang in pro sports right now than Steve Ballmer?
Say the name.
He is like pure joy.
Yeah.
He is pure. He is exactly what you should be when you're a billionaire.
Sure. We talk, Silicon Valley is the show, correct?
Now, personally, I don't think there should be any billionaires.
Yeah,
but
well, we can get into that.
We're going to live in a world where there are billionaires.
Yeah, sure.
They should be Steve Ballmer.
Absolutely. He is a mascot right now. He is an animal. He's doing it all. And again, fully financed. He wants a stadium. He builds it himself. He's got the money. He does it. And now he's down there with the fans, and they wanted to have a weed smoking section down there too, and everything. But he's down there in those cheap seats with the mic, and he's going nuts, and he's loving life. God save Steve Ballmer.
Yes.
He is a billionaire I can side with. But maybe that kind of finds its way into the fan zone this morning as well. We're going to hit the fan zone right now. Wanted to get to that. Herm Edwards, is he in the bullpen as well? He'll be joining us momentarily. We'll give Herm a few moments, but I wanted to touch on the fan zone. For fans first. By fans, for fans, no fees. You can get your Oilers tickets all season long. www.fansfirst.ca. We're back to the World Series. You think this is a great matchup. I think it stinks. I'm just going to say this. People talk about baseball so much, like, oh, rich person, oh, it's so rich, oh, they're rich. I know this is good for TV.
Yeah.
We mentioned the stadiums. We mentioned the stadia, the lore, the legend, all that stuff. However, when the Rockies made it to the World Series a couple of years back, I got out of my seat. I was interested, and I think maybe not to a lot of us. Maybe I am in the minority here.
Yeah.
But I think there's also that lure of baseball to see the Cincinnati Reds get, not the old ones, but modern day franchises that never have a sniff or a whiff of getting to a wild card.
Yeah.
Get there.
I think you are, and I'm not saying that this is a flaw, but I think you are guilty of the same thing that a lot of sports fans are guilty of, which is like good for the goose, good for the gander type of things. Like, you are an EPL fan. Like, give me your dream EPL matchup. Is there an underdog to be had?
I've been watching the Wrexham shows.
Right. Oh, yeah, Wrexham. Give me a break.
They're climbing. But I do love the bottom of the table battle.
Yeah,
between
but if you could see Liverpool versus anyone in a championship game, who would it be? Is it going to be the underdog, or is it going to be the other powerhouse?
This goes back to a theory as well of wanting your rivals to succeed at the same time you are, to have a healthy...
Yes.
Why do you want to beat down your rival? Oh, we're good and they're not. Well, there's no fun in that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have minded the Mets getting in.
Listen, if you are a fan of an underdog team, cheer your guts out.
Yeah.
And you should be proud of your underdog squad. But if you are just a... Casual fan is not the right term. But if you are a less invested fan, let's say that, you should want to see the most pomp and pageantry you can. And this is the World Series that gives you the most pomp and pageantry. It gives you the two marquee franchises.
Yep.
It gives you the game's best player.
Yep.
It gives you the game's best home run hitter. Like, it's
Stadia.
It is going to give you two of the best stadiums in all of sport. Like, it is going to be worth it from start until finish. The only thing you can ask for now is a Game 7. That's the only way that it gets better than what it already is.
I mean, I go back to Red Sox, Yankees, they got the 30 for 30s, the 40 and 40s, all the documentaries now about those series, the bloody sock and all that. It was fun. And those are two rivals, and it was great in its sense. But and I think it's specifically with the sport of baseball, where you only have a set amount of franchises. They've expanded the playoff a bit now, pardon me, but there's always an organ inside of me that's pulling for just a little bit of chaos in a sport where it's all kind of set usually, money-wise.
I agree with you, and I feel like Cleveland did that. I feel like Cleveland did give us that franchise to pull for.
We could dream a bit.
And we could dream a little bit.
Eric Sabrowski.
But when the cold light of day, when reality set in, for me, I want to see the best on best.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the plucky underdog.
Yep.
Right? Like, and that goes for most sports. Like, when it comes to the NHL, after the Oilers are eliminated, if they do get eliminated, I will ask for the best.
What's next?
matchup,
Yeah, you don't
right?
want Cinderella showing up in the pumpkin.
Utah is charming, but if Utah is your Stanley Cup finalist, I'll tune out.
Nashville's not doing it for you.
Right. Well, National's not doing it for
Well, they're not doing it
anybody
for them.
right now.
So those, yeah.
But it is that sort of like, tell me why I should care, right? Like, imagine if the Oilers hadn't been in the Stanley Cup Finals and you had Florida versus
even
an Anaheim,
Yeah,
right? Like,
or even a Dallas, given
right?
markets.
Yeah.
Team's good on paper, I get
yeah.
it, the roster and whatever, but rosters aside, whereas you say in this, it's your full meal deal. You've got the rosters, you got the talent, plus you have the lure of the franchise.
And you have the going across the continent as well, which I appreciate. Like,
yes, a true East-West.
Like the
rap game.
There's a charm to a Subway Series.
Yep.
But there's also a lack of magic to the idea.
That's
of
true.
Piling onto that plane and you talk to the guys that had to do the Oilers to Florida type of runs.
Yeah.
And there was it's ridiculous. And they knew it was ridiculous. They didn't complain that much, but there was a grind to it.
For sure.
And it added to the coverage in that the people covering it were slightly exhausted and the players were definitely exhausted.
Absolutely. Have your say. Everybody else is go Yankees, go Dodgers. Who is the underdog in this series? Just real quickly, Yankees, Dodgers, how many games? Who takes it? Just off the top of your head.
I think if I was going to put a bet on it, I think the Dodgers could do it in 5, and if not, in 7.
Hot Take Kev says, I've been to 5 MLB stadiums for games. Yankees dead last for me. It's clean, but nothing special in my opinion. Obviously, it's the new Yankee Stadium, but it's the Yankees.
Yeah.
The Yankees, right?
And it's also that New York skyline.
Yeah, that's another thing. Chris says, hey, Will, great to hear you on again. Hope you're well. This is the Dream World Series matchup. Tube Sock says, 12th time that they have met in the World Series, 2 of the most iconic stadiums, and, which we forgot to mention as well, 2 of the most iconic uniforms in Major League Baseball, and that's another thing. The logos are nice. Scalding Gord says, I have my Napoleon complex showing, cheering for the little man.
Yeah, no. Like,
give me some Rockies and,
I listen. There is a charm to it. It's just it's tough to invest.
Yeah, I know. I knew I was in the wrong here. I just wanted to see how many people would be.
Yeah,
would be subscribing to my newsletter of sorts. Game 1 World Series tonight down in LA. Dodgers and Yankees, of course. You can join Matt Iwanek and Jason Milne. They'll have your green and gold kickoff show. Canadian football tonight. Elks at home to the Argos to put a pin in their season, but they'll also have the World Series on there. Go down and Raz Iwanek as his Yankees, he'll say, take on the LA Dodgers.
Okie dokie.
We'll move on, sticking with football, but of the National Football League variety. We are now joined by our football insider and analyst every Friday, Herm Edwards. The coach returns. It's brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports and memorabilia specialists. NFL jerseys from Mitchell and Ness. They are on sale now. You can save on names like Moss, Dion, Elway, Manning, and more. Located once again, Edmonton, corner of St. Albert Trail, 128th Ave, online at proamsports.ca. Coach, great to have you on again. Welcome back to the show. Lieutenant Eric and Wil Fraser here with you. Let's just dive into that Thursday nighter again last night down in L.A. Rams taking it over the Vikings. Minnesota have now lost 2 straight. The face mask that wasn't in the end zone there, giving up that safety. I'm thinking here maybe the solution is more officials on the field so that they don't miss these crucial calls late in the game. What say you?
Well, it's kind of interesting to say that because now in our world we have so many replays and a way to look at things. I don't know why they don't just call up to the booth and say, hey, let's discuss it, let's get it right. I mean, I think it's coming to that. It needs to come to that. And I think the only reason that it's really headed this way in sports in general, now we have a way of viewing it, is betting.
Yeah.
There's so many people that bet on games anymore, that you want to get it right.
Yeah.
So they'll figure it out.
Is Minnesota returning to the team that we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year, or did they just blow a winnable game?
Well, I mean, that's, 2 in a row for them is tough, but, they're in the best division in football.
Yeah.
That overall record in that division is 19-7. So, they're a very competitive team. I mean, Sam Darnold, no one anticipated Sam Darnold would play this way, for goodness gracious. And, I think this is the team that you're going to have to deal with. They're a good football team. They are playoff bound. I think the best team in that division is, you would probably say, the Detroit Lions. They've won 4 in a row now. You know, the Packers have won 3 in a row. And the Chicago Bears have won 3 in a row. How about that? Interesting.
Hell of a division, Herm. Some great teams in there as well on that side of the ledger. Going over to the AFC, 2 teams going in opposite directions this week. The Ravens 5-2 and the Browns 2-6. You got a quarterback in Lamar Jackson playing out of his mind right now, and Derek Lamar Henry as well, just rushing for a casual 150 at least, it seems, every week. Browns, Deshaun Watson, that storyline's kind of gone away. Are the Ravens right now currently, it might be a lame question, but are they your darlings right now in the entire league? Albeit we've talked about the Lions, we've talked about everybody else. Is it the Ravens for you moving forward?
Well, if you look at the numbers, I would say the Baltimore Ravens right now are the best team in the AFC. Now, you can't count out the Chiefs, because I say this. Mahomes is playing bad, but what's going to happen when he plays good?
Yeah.
That's what you're going to have to deal with when he starts playing good again. And they're a team that obviously are sitting there with no losses. They've won 6 in a row. So you're going to have to deal with him now, you know, when he starts playing good. And that's a scary thought.
New York Jets, if they beat the Patriots, they're not going to make believers out of anyone. But what happens if they lose?
Oh, boy. Well, they can't fire the coach because they already fired the coach. You can't do that. You're going to fire Aaron Rodgers. You probably can't do that either, because half the team is Aaron Rodgers' team. But I do believe this. They sit at 2-5. This division, the best team in the division right now is the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
With 5-2 record. Amari Cooper will help them. Miami's getting Tua back. The Patriots are the Patriots. I think this is a rebuilding year. But at 2-5, the Jets, if they could string along a couple wins and get their momentum, they have a chance to get in the playoffs. I say this because a long time ago, there was a coach that was 2-5 that was sitting in that division and actually won the division, and he happens to be me. So when you sit at 2-5, there's no more margin for error, obviously. And all they need to do is win a game. And if they can just win a game, things will change. I do believe.
Herm, you mentioned the Bills in there as well. A fascinating matchup as they'll go cross-country visiting the Seahawks in that second slate of afternoon games Sunday. 21 points averaging on the road for the Bills in 4 games away from New York this season. You mentioned Amari Cooper as well. Is that kind of the ingredient, the spice that's going to pick this team up and take them where they need to go this year?
Well, I think Josh Allen, to me, is tremendous. I mean, he is every year a candidate for the MVP. I love the guy. I think he's a fabulous quarterback. I think Amari Cooper helps him in this sense. He's got a veteran receiver that's played in a lot of games, in big games too. He needed that because I think they're a more balanced offense now. He's not trying to feed the ball to one guy. He's kind of throwing it around to everyone, and then he makes enough plays with his legs. So I just think that the Buffalo Bills are a team you're going to have to deal with as they continue to get better. I think Amari Cooper helps them on offense. There's no doubt about that.
Coach, I'm a Bears fan. I am biased. And I still can't tell you what this team is. Their quarterback is just so young. Their offense is just so nondescript as far as week to week to week. But just tell me this: they're taking on a 5-2 Washington squad. What does it mean if the Bears can knock them off?
Well, I think they should knock them off. Jaden Daniels is not playing.
Okay. So
they have an advantage there. The Bears have an outstanding defense. They're 5th total defense in the National Football League. That helps them. Washington now does not have, obviously, Jaden Daniels. They were 4th in offense in the National Football League. I do think the Bears are getting better. The quarterback is getting better.
Yes.
There's no doubt about that. I think the game has slowed down for him. He's playing in the pocket now. He's not trying to play this helter-skelter football in which he had to play at USC because he had a defense that was giving up about 40 points a game. He felt like he had to score 60 every week. But I think the game slowed down. He's seeing the field better, and I think he's gaining more confidence as he plays. So this is a fun team to watch, and the fact that it's in a division that is so competitive, right? I mean, the division, we already said earlier in the segment, is the best division in football. But I like the way he's playing right now. They won 3 in a row. They got some momentum going. They're playing a wounded Washington team. Without Jaden Daniels, they're a different team.
Is it almost unfair, their combination of punting and defense?
No, you know what? I've always told quarterbacks, remember, the only way the opponent gets the ball is kick it to them.
Yeah.
Either you punt it, you kick it after you score a touchdown, or you kick a field goal. As long as you do that, you got a chance. If you don't give it to them, if you give it to them with a kick, you're doing good.
Yeah.
ESPN NFL analyst Herm Edwards joining us, the coach this morning. Want to go to Sunday night here. Cowboys 3-3 at the 3-4 49ers. Both teams kind of on the bubble here. Herm, who do you think? Who do you see blowing this one more?
Oh boy, you're asking the Philadelphia Eagles to say something nice about the Cowboys. Huh? Yeah, I think San Francisco's a little wounded right now.
Yeah.
All of a sudden Purdy's turned the ball over, and that's not who he is. This is a big game for San Francisco in the sense, they were picked to win this division, to run away with the division, but now all of a sudden, they're struggling some, and that division's tightened up. Seattle obviously is with a lead right now. San Francisco has a loss. They don't want back-to-back losses. The Rams all of a sudden have won 2 in a row. So this is a game San Francisco really needs. Look, the Dallas Cowboys are the Dallas Cowboys. Here's what I know about Dallas Cowboys. They are very good when there's no pressure on, right? It seems to me when the lights are the brightest, this is when the Cowboys have problems. This is a Cowboy team that was sitting pretty good. And then the Detroit Lions came into their home and they played bully ball. They bullied them. They bullied the Dallas Cowboys in their stadium. Jerry Jones' birthday. And they bullied them. They just flat went in there and bullied them. To me, I want to see if they got over that. I don't know if they have or not. We're going to find out in San Francisco.
Being a head coach in the NFL, you have to have thick skin, and you're kind of hired to be picked on a little bit. Is there a coach who has been picked on more than Mike McCarthy? I mean, he spent years being sort of a whipping boy for Aaron Rodgers, and then he goes to Dallas, and now he's just getting brutalized by his owner and manager.
No, and I know Mike. I've worked with Mike. I remember Mike when he first came to the league. I was with Kansas City, and he was a GA there with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a really good football coach. And I think he knew when he took this job, this is part of the deal. When you're a Cowboy coach, it's just hard. After about your third season, it's always the same scenario. You win a bunch of games during the regular season, but when you get into the playoffs or the big moments, the Cowboys, they falter. That's the Cowboys. That's the Dallas Cowboys. That's just who they are. And you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, if you watch them over the last 15 years, that's what they do. They just can't help themselves. They just get into big moments and they don't show up. They don't show up. It's amazing to me, and I don't feel sorry for them. They're the Cowboys. No. They're America's team. But at any moment, they can play really good. But right now, their quarterbacks turn the ball over, and the giveaway, takeaway, they're -6. They're down there with the Philadelphia Eagles. And my old team, Philadelphia Eagles, they're not any better right now. They've won 2, but they're a little bit of a mess. But now, what's bailing them out is Barkley. Here's what's amazing about the Cowboys. Guys, you follow this team. Think about the Dallas Cowboys and think about this question I'm getting ready to ask you. Historically, you go back to Calvin Hill, Walt Garrison. They've always had a running back. They don't have a running back, guys.
Yeah.
They do not. The Dallas Cowboys, look, they had them all. Tony Dorsett, they've had running backs. Herschel Walker. You go down the history of this team, they've always had a running back, and for some reason, Derrick Henry was sitting there, and they said, he's too expensive. Well, I'm cutting 5 guys because I'm bringing Derrick Henry in there for sure, right? But the Dallas Cowboys, to me, don't have a running back, and that's going to be their problem.
Well, you're among friends here, Coach. No Cowboys sympathy from this room, so we don't wish them well. We'll move on. I just want to get your thoughts as well. Were you in Austin last weekend? I want to get your thoughts on this week's college slate. Did you get to check out Longhorns Bulldogs last week or what?
Well, I was in Austin. My daughter goes to Texas. She's a freshman.
Okay.
And works for the football team.
Okay.
So I was down there visiting her, and I had to leave Saturday to get back into Brooklyn because I'm in the studio on Sundays and Mondays.
Right.
But I did watch the game, and I tell you what, that Georgia defense was it's like a defense that plays in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Wow, they're really good.
SEC
Really
football.
Good. Now, I do believe this. I do believe this. I believe Texas is going to be okay. They're going to be okay. They're going to be fine. I don't think any college team is going to go undefeated this year.
Texas number 5 visiting number 25 Vanderbilt tomorrow afternoon. But yeah,
be careful. Be
Yeah.
careful going to Vandy.
Absolutely. They knocked off Bama, did they not, earlier this season? I do believe, but
That's exactly right. You
No
go down
easy
there,
games.
Vanderbilt thinking, yeah, okay, not so fast.
should be a great Saturday and a great Sunday as well, Herm. We appreciate your time, man. Enjoy all the football over the course of the weekend.
My pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
There you have the coach. Isn't that nice, hey? Remember when we used to, the call would come in?
Yeah. I remember the first time we got Herm Edwards.
Yeah.
And Dustin comes in that morning and he's like, hey, so at, I don't know, pick a time, at 7:20, I needed to just be like really quick on the phones. I'm like, well, of course, I'm always quick. He
Yeah,
goes,
you were. Yeah.
I'm like, what's up? He goes, well, I've been texting with someone who says he's Herm Edwards. He goes, but I haven't had a phone call with them yet. It's just been all texts. And so I need to really make sure it's Herm Edwards that's calling in. He goes, I just got his number from some other booking agent. And that person was like, yeah, Herm's always up for different stations, especially different parts of the country. And so just send him a text. And so like his rate was lower than we expect. Like it was one of those things where it was like everything was too good to be true.
Yeah.
Right. Like that. We're like, he immediately texted back. He immediately agreed to whatever terms that we threw out there. And then he immediately agreed to whatever time we asked him for.
Mante Teo situation
Dustin,
going on.
Yeah, Dustin was immediately like, I'm being punked. It's like, I am being punked. We are going to have somebody doing a bad Herm Edwards impression. Like, just make sure. And yeah, and then all of a sudden, yeah. Like
You were the original screener.
Yeah, I mean, it's Herm Edwards. Like, if you've ever seen the guy do anything, like, it's distinct. You know who Herm Edwards is.
Yep.
And he used to come on, like great analysis. He used to come on and just pump us up like a coach.
Oh, yeah.
Like
that was before Arizona State got there.
I was talking to my wife last night because I was texting with you. And I was like, oh, Herm's going to be on. And my wife was like, Herm's going to be on? When? I need to listen. Because she feels like she needs the pump up of a Herm Edwards going into work. Yeah.
You play to win the game. Big Slam Nasty says, get Herm in the Oilers locker room tonight. You play that'd be you'd do it for half the cost.
He would. Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Yeah. Gentlemen, I will be up there later tonight.
Yeah.
We thank him for his time. We thank Pro Am Sports for supporting that segment as well.
Best Herm Edwards we ever had of all the appearances we ever had him on for. We used to, because we were a radio station, we had licensing for music.
Sure.
So we could play whatever music we wanted in and out of breaks and what have you. And you and I took it very seriously. Like we would work on
You're painting a picture.
Yeah. We were setting a tone. And so we, the one day, had Jimi Hendrix leading in to Herm Edwards. And Herm gave us like a 9-minute riff about his babysitter when he was like 9 years old.
Yeah.
Took him to see Jimi Hendrix at Candlestick Park in San Francisco.
I forgot about that one.
And it was the best story. It had nothing to do with football.
No.
But we just stayed on it because it because he painted this picture of a 9-year-old Herm Edwards with his 16-year-old babysitter dragging him along to see Jimi Hendrix live. Like, it was just the best story.
You know where he gets that fire. That's the whole, that's where it was born. That's where it was made. But the real Herm Edwards.
The real Herm Edwards.
Yeah. And to this day, he texts Dusty. I can't believe it. I'm texting Herm Edwards. Yeah. Like, that's bingo bango. It's 8:05. We're going to get to a little kind of easy trivia. If you want to play, text in 780-218-9999. It's the Paris Jewelers inbox. Great locations around the country, coast to coast to coast. One being in West Edmonton Mall. Great staff, beautiful stuff. Text in right now, 780-218-9999 if you'd like to play kind of easy trivia. Maybe, just maybe, you'll have the questions. We just need 5.
5? 5? No one said 5.
During the break, Trev will have a sports update here as well for the great people at Claiborne Services. But if you want to play kind of easy trivia this morning, $25 up for grabs to Mr. Mike's. Great way to start a weekend. 780-218-9999. Text in, I want to play. I can play to win the game, whatever you want to do. Text in something with play. Trev will pick one of you, and we'll do that when we get back. 3 questions, too many as well on the way for Park Mazda. That hurts. Maybe we'll go around the former Oilers and the point totals from last night, just to kind of turn the screw into that. We'll pup you again. We have to.
I have a positive take on what's going on.
Look at this. So it's not going to hurt that bad. Courtesy James H. Brown Injury Lawyers. Orange and Blue Breakfast as well. Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week. Jam-packed third hour on the way. Text in 780-218-9999. I want to play trivia. Trev will get to you after the sports update for Claiborne Services. Lieutenant Eric, Wil Fraser, YouTube Trev, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's The Nielsen Show.
Last night in the NHL, Warren Foegele scored a pair, including the game winner. Kings take their home opener 3-2 over the Sharks. 2 goals from Dylan Holloway and 1 goal from Philip Broberg helped lead the Blues to a 5-1 victory last night over the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Winnipeg Jets improved to 7-0 on the season with a 4-3 win in overtime out in Seattle. Nikolai Ehlers had the game-winning goal. The Hurricanes double up on the Flames 4-2, handing Calgary its first regulation loss of the season, and tonight 4 games in the NHL, including the Oilers and Penguins. It's McDavid and Crosby from Rogers Place as Edmonton looks to snap a 2-game slide. Hernan Salas has your GCL Diesel pre- and post-game shows with coverage starting at 6 here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Elsewhere in hockey, 4 games dot the AJHL schedule tonight. Lloydminster visits Bonnyville. Grand Prairie hosts Drumheller. Fort McMurray on the road in Olds. Drayton Valley at home to Calgary. Over to the NFL last night, Minnesota Vikings fall on the road in LA 30-20 to the Rams. The Vikings fall to 5-2 on the season, while the Rams improve to 3-4. The final week of the CFL regular season starts tonight with a doubleheader. Ticats visit the Red Blacks. Kickoff for that one is at 5, and the Elks round out their season at home to the Toronto Argonauts. Matawanek and Jason Milne will be live from Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge with the Green and Gold kickoff show. Coverage begins at 6:30 on the Edmonton Sports Talk YouTube channel. And to finish things off, the World Series opens tonight from LA between the Dodgers and Yankees. Garrett Cole starts for the Yankees while Jack Flaherty gets the ball for LA. First pitch at 6:08. Take your career to the next level with Claiborne Services. They are hiring all positions, including journeyman bricklayers and apprentices of all levels. Take advantage of their outstanding mentorship program and work with peace of mind knowing they are an industry leader in safety. Visit www.claiborneservices.com or make it easy and give Jeff a call at 780-910-6728.
What say you? Hey, nasty crew. We got the Nielson Show flu, and there's nothing we can do about it. What say you? Hey, nasty crew. My wife thinks I got better things to do, but there's nothing I can do about it. We're tuning in, we're listening online. We catch up with the podcast when we fall behind. We're texting Texting in the nasty chat what's on our mind. 780-218-9999. No more interference from corporate interest. Just Tuffy and Eric and all of the bad cats like Brzezinski and Noodles. Skeptic and Gated. Maybe it's fun but a cool band to make a little wager. We can't wait for the Monday mandate. Shaggy's always on time. Tommy's always late.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Forget about the old place. Hey, we were number one in the text race. We don't miss all the commercial breaks, but we sure miss Nickelback today. We wanna hear some Huntix and we wanna hear Renee. Why not hold the neck up when I wanna kiss away? Beat us to tie a fire and remember that name. We love every goal song, but what about the games? Macramel, Rapaport, Dragger, Engineer. It ain't Christmas season, but they sound like reindeer. Button and my cousin and the tales of the North. All about him giving present, Dusty go forth. What say you? AM Nasty Crew. We got the Nielson Show flu. And there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it.
8:11, you are tuned into the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Happy Friday. Lieutenant Eric here with you. Wil Fraser with Wendell alongside in for Dustin Nielsen this morning. He'll have the call tonight. CFL on TSN, Elks at home to the Argos. Second half of a doubleheader on the Sports Network, and YouTube. Trev behind the monitors, killing it on the sports updates, albeit with a few things that Will has jotted down here, a few pointers and notes. You're never at perfection, really, nor should you be.
I don't know if it's perfection or not. Listen, his Pennsylvania Dutch came out in the pronunciation of Drumheller. I don't think it was a mispronunciation. I think he was just pronouncing it as they do in Pincher Creek.
The old dog coming out of him again.
Drumfeller. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, Drumfeller.
Get the big hat.
It started so strong there.
Covered carriage. You can hear us on the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps. Hope those streaming platforms are working swimmingly for you this morning. And, of course, on YouTube, where the Nasty Chat is going. This show is rolling along. We are speeding through. Of course, nothing short of to discuss today. Oilers and Penguins coming up. You heard Trev mention he'll be hosting the GCL Diesel pre- and post-game shows tonight here on EST. And you can also join Maddie and Milne. They'll be at the Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. They'll have your Green and Gold kickoff show on the YouTube channel tonight. And, of course, the hockey game on there as well. And game one of the World Series between the Yankees and Dodgers. If you are watching on YouTube this morning, give us a like, hit the sub if you haven't already. We are approaching 10.5K on the sub count, and we are oh so close to changing 200 for the like count on the show today. Kind of easy trivia coming up. We'll have $25 to Mr. Mike's up for grabs, and 3 questions too many for Park Mazda, Mitch Lewicki. If you have any questions, I always like to open up the 3 questions too many for whoever the guest host is. And being that it is Wil Fraser this morning, I mean, please go on. If you have any questions for him specifically, send them in, 780-218-9999 or in the Nasty Chat, and I'm sure he'll be glad to answer them, either what he's doing or what he liked about the old place or any other things that you don't know about the man of mystery, how he got this chiseled form. I'm sure he'll be glad to share a bit of his repertoire and exercise regimen with you as well. So get those questions in. That hurts coming up as well for James H. Brown Injury Lawyers. Orange and Blue Breakfast will get you set for Penguins and Oilers, and we'll round out the show with the Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week. The Nielsen Show is presented to you by South Fort Chevrolet. Drive a little, save a lot. You can check them out today in Fort Saskatchewan. Go see Daniel and the team. $1,000 credit on your trade-in vehicle, and for the month of October, save up to $15,000 on select models. For more, check out the website www.southfortchev.com. We got somebody on the line there, do we, Trev?
Yes, we do. Not just anybody. Box Pounder.
Box Pounder, Neil, who was one of the merriment at Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge last night. We were having a good time. Neil, did you find any takers for those last couple of pieces of pizza that you had?
I managed to get them home to the wife, and she did appreciate them.
Jackpot, Jan. Tell her, send her our best. It was a great night out there last night. It was great to see, as always, man. And if you're good to go, once again, you know the deal here. You're playing for Mr. Mike's. You can celebrate the flavors of their New Mexican and Spanish-inspired features, like Patatas Bravas, the Fusion Feast Platter, Chili Lime Ribeye, featuring drinks and more. $1 from every entree sold as well will help nourish a hungry child through a local breakfast program in the community. You can join the Fiesta Fusion today at Mr. Mike's. $25 to Mr. Mike's on the line. Box Pounder, are you ready to go?
I hope so.
I think we only have the long ticker today, correct? So you don't even get the option of a short or a long. And Wil Fraser's cobbled together some questions as well. Would you like me to read them, Box Pounder, or would you like Will with one L to read you the questions today?
I want you to read them, LT.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's a good choice. I don't do well under pressure.
Fair enough. I mean, dealer's choice here.
You want to hear my Pennsylvania Dutch come out, you put a ticker behind me. Yeah.
If you're good to go, Neil, Trev will start the ticker after I read the first question. You need 3 out of 5. Good luck.
Thanks.
Who do the Oilers play tonight?
The Pittsburgh Penguins.
Who is the captain of tonight's opponent?
Sidney Crosby.
What is Sidney Crosby's nickname?
The Kid.
Who scored the famous golden goal?
Sidney Crosby.
Who won the Conn Smythe with the Penguins in 2009?
Go Oilers. Give me the prize.
Got it. The correct word is the beginning.
Are you kidding me? That's right. Who do you think you are? I am. Get it right.
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
That's a paddling.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules.
Ooh, you better believe that's a paddling.
And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
That's a paddling.
The first year, we took it to the limit.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
That was a sad morning. Yeah. As we approach the end of October, it is almost as well Bullvember, Yukon Jack's Minute Bowl month, where he tweets out a picture of Minute Bowl every single day. I know you're very excited for that. Congratulations, Box Pounder Neil. You're off to Mr. Mike's. Tell him we say hi. And get that Mr. Mike's burger, of course, always recommended by Dustin Nielsen. 3 questions to menu right now, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda. Demo vehicle sale. Also, CX-5, CX-50s, all that good stuff. Check them out today, parkmazda.ca. Of course, Mitch Lewicki. All of the info you can find up at their website. It's a great website. They have people chatting with you once you get on there. So check them out today, parkmazda.ca. Will, we usually share Twitter accounts, social media. Are you on any social media these days?
No, it's a toxic place. Why would you ever spend any time?
I love it. I've been tweeting out your old handle, Wil Fraser for hire. You're still for hire. And long may it continue. I like this whole thing. We have questions. I said get your questions in for Will today. We'll move through this rather quickly here, but this comes in from Gordo. Wil Fraser, I'd like to know what you did for work all this time since you left 1260.
I've had many jobs.
Many hats, yes.
Many dumb jobs. Like just kind of...
Well, they make the world go round, though.
Right,
You were
exactly.
a cog in the machine.
Yeah,
right?
that's basically it. I delivered parts for a little while. I took jobs that you can easily quit. That's what I did. I quit some of them. I've done some farming for my neighbor from time to time. I've honestly, like career-wise, my wife is a very career-oriented person and very good at her job. Like
she's in.
She's in it. She is really good at her job. But part of her being really good at her job is she doesn't have a lot of time for anything else. So I've done a lot of homemaking over the last couple of years.
You've hit it out of the park. You're living the dream.
I am.
You are living the dream.
I graduated one son, and he is comfortably in university, out of town, and the other kid is on course for the same thing. So it's kind of one of those things that, like, both my wife and I have kind of had those sit downs where it's kind of like, what next after that? And it's kind of like, well, obviously something has to come, but until then, there's that, and then there's also like aging parents on both sides of my marriage.
Yeah,
so not that any of them need a lot of help, but just being available is helpful for not just my family, but like my brothers and sisters-in-law and all of that. Like
being present.
Kind of being available.
You're almost like the Dave Jameson to your family now, in a sense. He was kind of that.
I could only wish.
Sure, yeah, it's something to aspire to.
Yeah,
yeah. Time takes no prisoners, right? But I'll say this: given the moment where I met you, you've aged gracefully in your own right. I mean, you've again, as we said, we kind of went through your day to day now. Like this is great. You're kind of going the opposite direction. It's almost like you're getting younger. Before my eyes.
Sure.
I'm just saying.
No, honestly,
hair still looks great.
Like I hit 40 and like I don't know about anybody else, but like you hit 30 and it's like hitting a wall where like you spend your 20s never having a repercussion physically.
Sure, but then
for anything.
Yeah.
And then you hit 30 and you start actually like having a hangover and you start feeling certain things being sore that were never sore before.
Yeah.
And so you hit 40, and 40 is worse because nothing changes. Like but you can see all your friends who are nearing 50, and you're like, oh, well, you look like an old purse. I don't want that.
Old purse.
Like, and so you have to make changes. And so that's what I've done. I've spent 5 years making healthy choices, and it's not easy, but yeah.
Rusty Shackelford says, I ran into Wil in Rimbey at the A&W a few years ago, and that's it. Jordan asks, ask Wil who he thought was the worst guest he ever had on 1260 and why.
Worst guest? That's a good question. You know, I'll
gotta
be
peel
honest
back a
with
bit.
you. I'm really good at forgetting bad things.
Sure.
So it's probably tough for me to remember who our worst guests. Like,
weird question in terms of how they were on air, or just kind of the.
I
Somebody
shouldn't bring this up because it's not that any of the guests were bad.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you want to ask me what still gives me, it's not nightmares, but unease, is we used to do the Stollery Children's Hospital.
That's always
days,
a tough one, yeah.
And those were days that started not great and usually ended even worse.
Yep. That's
right. And
just how it is.
And I know I should say we did good things. Our listeners did great things for that children's hospital, and it was a worthy cause. But those were never easy days.
Nope.
Like, and as soon as they put them on the schedule, you kind of dreaded them because it was going to be tough conversation after, especially when you have young kids of your own.
Oh, for sure.
It is impossible not to look at a fellow parent and see yourself in a similar situation.
No, I'd agree. And being not a parent, but those days were good answer to a tough question there, because that's pretty much it. Question number 3, and Big Maple in the Nasty Chat says William Button for reverse aging. That's a nice.
He's got the Benjamin Buttons.
Text it in, Big Maple. You might get texted at A&W. Question 3, and this you might know this individual.
I actually think I'm looking older, like as the skin starts to. I used to have a nice cherub glow.
Yeah,
I used to be much jollier.
Yeah, now those jowls are really.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else has their Amazon Fire Stick or whatever, but it has access to my phone's photos, and so it'll just randomly throw up photos from the last 2 decades, right? Like, and so there is a lot of happier looking Wil Frasers that greet me a lot. I mean, they weigh 50 pounds more.
Happier but healthier. That's the right.
Well, less healthy. Happier and less healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the most important. You're healthy, you're happy. I mean, this Diamond Dave from Cuba.
Diamond Dave.
Said he'll be there. He was on there the trip that you and Dusty went on Cuba, which was a memorable trip.
Speaking of Italian Center Shop, Dave and I would meet from time to time for a coffee.
Oh, sit in the cafe, yeah.
And he would always have a sidecar, something.
Sure, biscotti.
Yeah. Like we'd Lady and the Trampet, you mean? Like,
yeah. Get a little wet, dip it first. He goes, Wil loves to read. What's his recommendation for perspective expansion?
That's a good question.
I thought I'd end with that one here.
I will tell you this. David Brooks, who writes for the New York Times, has been, he had a life change about, I want to say 6 years ago.
Okay.
And he has published basically 3 books since then. So he's a politics writer, but he writes novels about self-improvement and about proper sort of taking stock and what have you. I've found his writing to be great. Anything from Michael Lewis is going to make you a better person. And in today's day and age, you want perspective change? Read The Fifth Risk. It will.
The Fifth Risk.
It will change your mind on. I would hope it changes your mind on a lot of things.
I'm currently getting through the fourth turning, actually, as it were.
Okay.
Detailing the spring, summer, fall, and winter of our lives and of the 100-year aspect.
Sure.
History repeating itself.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff.
David Brooks has a book called The Second Mountain, which I think especially, not to gender it, but for broad brush for men of my age, I think it's a really important read.
There you have it. 3 questions too many. A Wil Fraser with 1L edition, courtesy our great staff
and
friends
Gladwell
at Park
talking
Mazda.
to strangers is fantastic.
Just talking.
Malcolm, it's the name of his book, Malcolm Gladwell, Talking to Strangers. Yeah.
We'll get into that hurts right now for our good friend. That was, we got in the bullpen, Nathan there from Irrational Brewing. Hey, Nathan, we'll get to you here in a matter of minutes, man. Thanks for showing up here. We'll get the beers going and flowing here. A few housekeeping issues to take care of. That hurts. Brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers. When accidents happen, go to jameshbrown.com. If you've been injured in an accident or whatever, they don't care. Just go to them, ask them what you need to do. They'll take care of you. jameshbrown.com. I mentioned that hurts. We were going to go with all of this handful collection of former Oilers, bagging points, goals, assists, what have you, night by night. You said you'd have an interesting take on this. In some other direction.
Yeah.
What is it?
So
because it does hurt.
Hurts
Trev. Since
I started in this business, I no longer consider myself to be in this business, but when I started, is when the current iteration of the collective bargaining agreement was really taking shape.
Okay.
And before then, like restricted free agent signings, it was more convoluted. Like if you go back to the Oilers' sort of trade history, a lot of it was informed by like the compensation was more nebulous. And so the Oilers actually improved sometimes from having restricted free agents being signed off of them. So basically, since the Dustin Penner era, I've been a big proponent of the restricted free agent signing. And it has driven me crazy to no end of the unspoken collusion that has happened between owners and probably more specifically general managers, that we don't sign each other's restricted free agents. And so my hope is that with the success of these two signings, we will finally see a break in the dam. And that general managers will finally start taking the restricted free agent signing seriously as a way of improving their teams quickly. That I think you should cheer for this. It has as
long as you're not in the crosshairs, I guess.
It's kind of like it needs to be fair play. Like what stings as an Oiler fan right now, I would assume, is the fact that it feels unfair. Like you've watched for the last 20 years as no one signs each other's restricted free agents. And when they do, it's a Kotkaniemi, and he falls flat on his face in Carolina.
And then you hire Stan Bowman, and all of a sudden this happens. I mean, there is a thought process to that.
Right. And so I think what you should hope for is that these guys are as successful as possible so that it becomes a live fire every offseason around the league. What you don't want is for people to stop shooting at your team. What you want them to start doing is shooting at everybody else as well. You want everyone else to have sort of the fear of God in them when they come to assessing their roster. Like, for example, if you're the Calgary Flames right now, you should be concerned. You are playing really well, and your young players on their young contracts are playing really well. I remember when the Oilers had the Dustin Penner, and everyone sat around and went, well, we're in big trouble once Sam Gagner gets to his first contract. And I was always of the ilk, that's a good thing. If you have a player who is worth $8 million, that's a good thing for your team. You should be paying them what they're worth instead of using collusion to keep them at a lower payroll. So I think this has a potential to be the best thing for the NHL as a whole, and especially for its players. And
just hurts when you're patient zero.
It's hard. We in this town we have the vestigial tale of the Oilers ownership group, in that emotionally a lot of us are still that scared kid that thought their hockey team was going to be bought by a Les Alexander and moved to Houston. We still have that sort of that fight or flight reaction when we look around. It's not the truth. We have a billionaire owner. We have
times have changed. Yeah.
We have a $1 billion team. Like we have a high revenue team. And so if anything, you should be cheering for the players now. You want those players to be as properly rewarded for what they provide as they can be. This is a league where you can lose your career in an instant, and you should get paid as much as you can get paid. And yeah, it hurts now, but if it was more even everywhere else, it wouldn't hurt as much. So that would be my sort of coming at it from left field sort of take that, yeah, you want to cheer against those guys, but who does that benefit? Doesn't benefit anyone.
Yeah.
If those guys do succeed, it will benefit everyone going forward.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it gets a young general manager to be like, why do I have this handshake agreement? Wink, wink, nudge,
Low
nudge.
Tide always wanted
with my
this.
competition.
He was always banging on this
Yes.
drum. He always wanted, give it, slide one over. Somebody, anybody.
Yeah, like
right?
the worst thing that could have happened was Broberg falls flat on his face in St. Louis, and everyone stands around and goes tisk, tisk, tisk. And once again, you have players who are improperly managed, who are left on their farms, who are screwed around by their teams and unable to develop into who they are. Whereas now you should have teams that are a little more proactive with the talent that they have in their system.
That hurts. Maybe it doesn't hurt so much as Wil Fraser put it to you. Brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers. When accidents happen, go to jameshbrown.com. Bronx, the Boilermaker, texts in 780-218-9999, Paris Jewelers inbox. Will for union leader, NHLPA. Maybe that's... we're talking about your jobs. Maybe you take that on as a sidecar as well.
The idea of being head of a union of millionaires is kind of gross.
You talked about the billionaires. We didn't. Yeah, the millionaires aren't so much.
Listen, I think they should be properly rewarded for what they do.
Sure.
I think it's all making way too much money.
Stop there. Yeah. That's good enough. Yeah. But Bronx, we appreciate your text. We'll hit a sports update here for Sit and Sleep. We'll be back with an Orange and Blue breakfast and then a little Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the week. We're going 124th, the Old Hood down Inglewood Way. I think they're not really located in Inglewood. Hey, that'd be kind of it's not even Westmount, is it? It's kind of what would you say, Irrational Brewing. We'll get more on that coming up later with Nathan. He'll join us from Irrational Brewing. 124th Street, though. You can't go wrong with the whole street.
Yeah, man.
It's the best. One of the best.
Yeah, no, it's
maybe the best.
It's got a nice record store. I know that.
Yes.
Is Zwick's not on there?
Zwick's used to be just off of
there.
But same thing. Yeah.
Right? Like
it's a cozy, one of the best streets, if not the best. Prove us wrong.
Yeah.
Nathan will be by from Irrational Brewing to close up the show as well after the Orange and Blue Breakfast. Sports Update, YouTube Trev, Lieutenant Eric, Wil Fraser here on the Nielsen Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Changing 200.
Last night in the NHL, Warren Foegele scored a pair, including the game winner. Kings take their home opener 3-2 over the Sharks. 2 goals from Dylan Holloway and 1 goal from Philip Broberg helped lead the Blues to a 5-1 victory last night over the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Winnipeg Jets improved to 7-0 on the season with a 4-3 win in overtime out in Seattle. Nikolai Ehlers had the game-winning goal. The Hurricanes double up on the Flames 4-2, handing Calgary its first regulation loss of the season. And tonight, 4 games in the NHL, including the Oilers and Penguins. It's McDavid and Crosby from Rogers Place as Edmonton looks to snap a 2-game slide. Hernan Salas has your GCL Diesel pre- and post-game shows with coverage starting at 6 right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Elsewhere in hockey, 4 games dot the AJHL schedule tonight. Lloydminster visits Bonnyville. Grand Prairie hosts Drumheller. Fort McMurray on the road in Old. Drayton Valley at home to Calgary. Over to the NFL last night. Minnesota Vikings fall on the road in LA 30-20 to the Rams. The Vikings fall to 5-2 on the season while the Rams improve to 3-4. The final week of the CFL regular season starts tonight with a doubleheader. Ticats visit the Red Blacks. Kickoff for that one at 5 o'clock tonight, and the Elks round out their season at home to the Argonauts. Mattawanek and Jay Milne will be live from Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge with the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Coverage begins at 6:30 on Edmonton Sports Talk's YouTube channel. And to finish things off, the World Series opens tonight from LA between the Dodgers and Yankees. Garrett Cole starts for the Yankees while Jack Flaherty gets the ball for LA. First pitch at 6:08. The wait is over. Sit and Sleep is now open. Celebrate with 20,000 square feet of savings on the trendiest furniture, home decor, and mattresses. Apply for your Sit and Sleep card today to make no payment for 18 months interest-free and be entered to win your purchase up to $5,000 on furniture and home decor. Next to Planet Fitness in South Edmonton Common. Want me to roll that now?
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
It's the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, streaming iHeart and TuneIn radio apps, and of course on YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, hit the likes. We just changed 200. We could probably get close to 3 by the end of the show. Talking a little Oilers Penguins right now, orange and blue breakfast. It is for GCL Diesel. Of course, you can join YouTube Trev alongside Hernan Salas tonight. They'll have your GCL Diesel pre- and post-game shows. 6 o'clock coverage gets underway here on Edmonton Sports Talk, all the platforms. They'll be setting you up for tonight's game. Sidney Crosby in the house. Yes, Puljujärvi, healthy and in the house, and a pretty good special teams. Look, the hips. I keep going. It's the hips, man. The hips are back. He's fine. He's out in the East. You can't hate him. We're talking about these former players. It's just like you wish him well. And
no, if you're thinking my snickering is because of Jesse Puljujärvi, it is not.
Oh.
It is because of the undying love Dustin Nielson has shown this young man.
Well, it's been up and down though, right? Like he's kind of had to go into the wilderness, and now he's back, baby.
I have never met a guy who picked a weirder cross to die on, but Dustin Nielson will die on that Puljujärvi.
Well, he's
cross.
Finnish.
Yeah.
He's Finnish, right? Yeah. It's his countryman. Yeah. So we'll dive into the orange and blue breakfast right now for GCL Diesel. Looking at the lineups, just going over them briefly here. Crosby between Drew O'Connor and Brian Rust. You got Malkin between Raquel and Bunting. Lars Eller centering a line between Anthony Beauvillier and Cody Glass. And then Noel Achari, Kevin Hayes, and one Jesse Puljujärvi. Their blue line looks a little something like this. Marcus Pettersson, Chris Letang. You got Grizzlick and Carlson, and Graves and St. Ivany. And as we had Chris Johnston on from TSN this morning, the goaltending has been a bit of a question. Joel Blomqvist and Alex Nedeljkovic will be minding the net for the Penguins, one of which, or maybe both tonight, down at Rogers Place. For the Oilers, kind of looks something like this. Connor McDavid, last time we saw them, between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl centering a line with Vasily Podkolzin and Victor Arvidsson. Henrique between Skinner and Brown, and Derek Ryan, Corey Perry, and Matthias Janmark. The blue line, Ekholm Bouchard, Nurse Stetcher, Kulak, Emberson, and Stuart Skinner last game out, albeit an overtime loss, I think played pretty well. Who knows who we'll see tonight, of course. I think they've been doing a pretty good job of platooning the two early on in the season. And, you know, if it is Calvin Pickard tonight, you know, well, whatever. It's Skinner needs some time, and he played really well last game, but I think for some people out there, the jury's still out, and don't ride that horse so heavy early on. And you
although if he is finding his footing, you kind of also want to let him
go with him, go with the mood, and go with the fit in the field. But Calvin Pickard proving serviceable as well behind us.
He's an NHL backup.
He's a great NHL backup, and from what I hear, great in the room,
which is what you want.
Which is exactly what you want. Let's get to the injuries right now as well. Well, let's get to a few keys of the game, and we'll go around the horn while I pull up the injuries here, starting with you, Wil Fraser, a key to an Oiler victory tonight, and YouTube Trev, if you'd like to add one in as well.
I'll start. It's the same key as most games. It's if Connor McDavid can respond to the Crosby in the building effect that has helped many times before, this should be a relatively easy night for the Oilers.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, Will. Connor seems to, at the big games, like he definitely marks. I don't know if he marks
shows
them on
up
the calendar,
for
but
Sydney.
Yeah, he
shows
does.
up for
He
Sydney.
does. So I like that as well. And you know, for me, I think just I know it's cliche, but just simplify the game. Like just like pucks on net. Like I know it's as cliche as it gets, but like they have been so passive all season. And I look to McDavid, and that's why, like, last game when he opened up the scoring with that goal, he just let it rip. And I'm just like, I want to see a lot more of that. Just put the puck on net, create chaos. You'll never know what happens, especially with, the Penguins, whether it is Nedeljkovic or who's in net. Like, I don't know. They're not crazy good goaltending. Yeah. So just pucks on net. And
they're not a crazy good team.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Create chaos. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It is a special night as well. Hall of Fame night. Craig McTavish and Randy Gregg, who was on with Jason Milne and Reed Wilkins yesterday.
Two of the greatest.
Yeah, they'll be honored tonight. The 2024 class of the Oilers Hall of Fame. So a banner night down there at Rogers Place tonight, and giving those two their due.
And two fine Edmontonians as well.
Well, that always helps in the end too when you're honoring these people, and I'm sure the stories will be flowing amongst other things. Everybody's going to be having a good time. It's a Friday night. Penguins in town. I mean, what more could you ask
There's
for?
very few better storytellers than Craig McTavish.
Absolutely. He's been in his hangout appearances, albeit a couple of them have been noteworthy here at the AST HQ. Want to get to the injury report. It's for Podium Physiotherapy. Knee pain from that nagging ACL. Hip or shoulder pain slowing you down. Back pain after long days at work. We have got you covered, whether it's a sports injury, post-op recovery, or the wear and tear of everyday life. Our expert team is here to get you back on track. Podium Physiotherapy, NHL caliber treatment for the everyday individual. You can book now at podiumphysiotherapy.com. For the visiting Pittsburgh Penguins, Matt Nieto, Blake Lizotte, and Vasily Ponomarev all on the IR heading into tonight's game. And for the Edmonton Oilers, Evander Kane, as we all know, LTIR'd, Carl Berglund, Brady Stonehouse, and Roby Järventie, who's been doing a little bit of skating, but is officially statused on the IR right now. So that's your Orange and Blue Breakfast, albeit a brief edition here, just a bit of a cold cereal bowl, if you will, not the normal buffet that we usually have, but Oilers and Penguins tonight. I know YouTube Trev will be having you all covered tonight. Once again, the GCL Diesel pregame show and postgame show, setting it up and tearing it down, 6 o'clock right here on Edmonton Sports Talk alongside the ever-animated Hernan Salas. And so, yes, Sobeys Liquor Beer of the Week. We'll get into the right now. 8:41 on the Nielson Show. Trev will have the music here. Once again, this is your chance to win $50 to Sobeys and Safeway Liquor. We'll be giving you that key word coming up later on in the segment. But we'll joined by Irrational Brewing here, 124th Street in Edmonton. Nathan will be sliding into the middle seat here. If we're good to hit the music, Trev, let's do it. 8:42, it's the Nielsen Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps, and on YouTube. Once again, if you are watching on YouTube, hit the like, hit the sub if you haven't already. It'll go a long way. Lieutenant Eric, YouTube Trev setting things up, and Wil Fraser back on the program. You were on with Dustin Nielsen a few weeks back. Now, this is just great. What a banner Friday, and it gets better right now.
Yeah.
Nathan from Irrational Brewing Company joins us. Welcome to the show. Nice to have you in the studio. And again, just make love to that mic. Just get all over it. Get right on in it. We got to ask you, too, and I've been to your brewery. Most of the brewery is as a visit. I never really remember after the fact, but I was outside in that patio. 124th, you're on the corner of 124th and
107.
107.
Yeah.
So it's right there. A lot of stuff happening in that intersection type of thing. It's a busy little spot, but a great double patio that you guys got out there.
That's right. Yeah. We have a patio right on 124th Street, and then also we have a patio in between the buildings there. So it's lots of options, lots of great seating.
Yeah, depends where the sun is, whatever. If it's raining a bit, we always have to start off too with these. How did you get to this seat today? How did you get to Irrational Brewing? Was it?
That's great.
It's usually yourself, a friend, in a bathtub or something like that. That's usually how these stories go. But how did you get to this brick and mortar shop?
You mean like Bert and Ernie?
Use your imagination, if you will. But how did you get to the point you are today? How long did it take?
You know what, Bert? We should start a brewery.
Great job.
So I didn't grow up in Edmonton, so I actually moved here in 2014.
Okay,
sounds like an Edmontonian to me.
Welcome to the club.
I moved here from the States, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
To do my PhD at the U of A.
Okay.
Moved here in 2014. At that time, the beer scene was sort of in its infancy. There wasn't too much going on in Edmonton. And where I came from, it
was ready to happen.
Go. Yeah. And like where I grew up and where I came from, it was called Beer City, USA.
Which is?
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
So I grew up.
Underrated town, by the way.
Oh, it's a great town. I love it.
Grand Rapids is like, it's one of those, they call them the flyover cities.
Exactly,
And it's
yeah.
kind of like, oh, you should land because that's a good town.
Wolverine, Spartans, or somebody else?
Oh, that's hard. I mean, I guess it depends on the sport, actually.
Okay.
I'm
Big
more
football game this weekend.
Yeah.
Between the two.
Yeah. So I kind of grew up in that scene, moved out here. I loved Edmonton. And when I finished my PhD, we kind of decided, well, if I stay in the academia train, I really don't get to choose where you want to live, right? It's wherever the job takes you.
Mm-hmm.
So for myself and my wife, we kind of talked about it and we're like, well, we could open a brewery, right? There's, still a lot of, room in the market for new craft breweries, and that would allow us to stay in Edmonton. And
Does your doctorate in any way work with brewing? What is your doctorate in?
So my doctorate's in mathematical biology. So in a little bit it does.
And you've defended your thesis?
You can always find a way. Yeah,
so you are Dr. Nathan.
I am.
We have a doctor on the
Dr.
show.
Nathan.
The doctor on the show.
Yeah.
Big show. Put it on the phone, Brett. This is, wow.
And the rest is history. And then we decided, let's stay here. Let's open a brewery. And
were you always in that location then? Because that's a pretty prime. Yeah.
Yeah,
good
that
for
was
you.
that's our original location. It's where we started.
It is gorgeous.
Man.
I think everyone listening, if you've been to Edmonton, you've probably seen it, and you've probably made, if you haven't
you're
stopped
right.
in, you've made that mental note. I got to try that place. Yeah.
It's very iconic.
Yeah. And it's actually, as someone who likes to drink beer and go on walks, there's actually there's a growing sort of community. Do you find that that's kind of key to the success is not just making sure that you're brewing the good stuff, but that your neighbors are as well?
Yeah, I mean, and even outside breweries as well. Like that's why we picked being on 124th Street is there's a lot of wonderful restaurants. There's that great record shop. There's there's Zwick's. There's just so many.
You got Manchester Square even down the road there on 107 or whatever.
So that was our thing is we wanted to be in a sort of up and coming, developing neighborhood that has great walkability. So, people can go around and, explore other options as well, just outside of us. So,
Amish Man 19 in the nasty chat says, the beer doctor. Maybe henceforth that's what we'll, just for
I'm
today.
okay with it,
what do we got on the candy lineup here, though? What's the special? Where do you kind of want to start and take us down the line?
So we brought 4 beers here today. So sort of Sobeys Beer of the Week, that's the first one we brought here. So this guy is Crosby. So this is a mango sencha rice lager. So sencha is a green tea. We actually use a mango sencha tea from Acquired Taste Tea Company, which is also on 124th Street.
Love it.
And so that will be the beer we start with.
So do you kind of add that the same way you would hops? As far as in the brewing cycle, or
I think of it more just of how you would brew a tea. Right, you heat the water up, you steep the tea for a couple of minutes, you take it out, you drink it. So it's a kind of similar process to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's crack into this puppy then and make our way down the line.
Sounds good.
And you got food there as well at the brewery, which is always a nice food menu. Mince and lager gravy pie, Will.
Okay.
You're going to get down on that, aren't you? Lots of pies. That seems
are you offering it to me right now?
Not
I'll say
now.
yes.
I'm just trying to paint a picture in your mind here. Flaky,
perfect.
buttery, puff pastry pie filled with locally sourced lean beef, mince, and lager gravy. To name a few. You've got a variety of pies. 5 here, it looks like. Very nice. Yeah, you too, Trev. You get a swill there here. And this is the beer of the week, you said.
This is the beer of the week. Yep, we're going to start with the beer of the week here. Yeah.
Irrational Brewing.
It smells like what you said it was.
Mango Sencha Rice Pseudo Lager. Yeah.
So it's got a light fruitiness to it. It's got a little herbal note from the tea itself. Just like a light lager.
To 124th Street.
That is really nice. Slancha. Oh, that's dangerous. Yeah, that is. You shouldn't. You should be
I like
really
that. I like
careful.
that when people they drink it and they're like, wow, that's different. That's something that I haven't experienced before.
I wouldn't say so much that that's different, but that's really nice. Like
this is dangerous.
Like when you see that in a glass, like your brain kind of is like, if everything goes right, this should be pretty clean.
Yeah.
Like
the look is nice. And it matches
gentle
up.
is kind of the term. Nothing's fighting back on this,
exactly.
right? Like sometimes you'll pick up a beer and you like the fight, but a lot of the times you're like, did it have to?
Let's
put
be
up
honest.
Such a fight? Like, this one has nothing like that. It's just welcoming.
Yeah. No, I would say that probably what we're known for is we're known for brewing probably 2 different types of things. First would be beers that are not traditional to style, such as this one, right? Using some type of weird adjunct. and then also brewing, very hop forward beers. Those are probably the two things. And so I tried to bring an assortment of what really showcases who we are as a brewery today.
And it's like, is the brewing kind of a start to finish designed at this beer, or is this something where you're taking a stock and flavoring? What are we?
No, this is start to finish.
Yeah.
This is this beer.
Which is sometimes what you can pick up with certain flavored beers, where you're just
Right.
kind of like, oh, they had a lot of this, and
It was
so
an
they thought,
afterthought. Yeah.
let's put this flavoring into it. Whereas, you can kind of tell that this is a fully formed idea from start to finish.
$13.99 for a 4-pack, if I'm reading this correctly, for the beer of the week. Highly recommended here. What are we going to sample next here?
So next one. So we have. So this is an oat cream IPA.
Perfect.
So this is something.
Sounds like November to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice
so
sweater.
We use a lot of different oats in this guy, so it has a really creamy, smooth mouthfeel on it.
What's it called? Turbidity?
Turbidity, yeah. It's extremely turbid,
Fun word.
as you can tell from the color.
Yeah, it almost looks like a Nepa.
Yeah, so it is. It is,
okay.
But we kind of call it an oat cream IPA to sort of differentiate it, because in here we use, it's almost 50% oats in the actual brewing process itself. And then uses lots of hops as well. So it's a classic hazy IPA, but definitely very creamy, a little bit sweet, very stone fruit forward.
Matt Hyman asks in the nasty chat, does the doctor recommend any breathing techniques while drinking? Breathing in or out of your nose or mouth? Is there anything you want to suggest there when it comes to your beers?
Yeah, so definitely, if you breathe out through your nose, once you sort of get the beer into your mouth, that actually will help sort of open up a lot of your senses and sort of give you a good experience. Also, sometimes too, like if you're smelling, sort of switching between one nostril.
No, it's kind of like taste
be
buds on
different.
the tongue.
That's a good, doctor's orders. Okay, well, and the turbidity. Cheers to, what do you want? Cheers to oats.
Cheers to oats, yeah.
Now, you said when you first arrived, it was a toddler beer scene. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Are you finding it easier for you to source your ingredients locally, or is this something where you still kind of have to go in search elsewhere?
Yeah,
of more mature areas.
Yeah, so a lot of the malt that we 95% probably the malt we use is from Alberta.
Okay.
We use a lot of also local maltsters. One of them being Red Shed Malting, based in Penhold. And then the other one being Hogarth Malt, based down in Olds.
Okay.
So we use a lot of their malts. Hops, on the other hand, are a little bit more difficult.
True.
A lot of that, most of our hops come from both New Zealand and from Yakima Valley down in Washington.
Yeah.
And we were very fortunate this year to be able to actually go down to Yakima about a month ago, to actually go down there and experience hop harvest and be able to hand select the hops that we're going to use for the next year.
When you drive through the Okanagan, I don't know if you have, or even Vancouver Island, do you not just sit there and kind of be like, where are the hops? Like, why is this not happening? Like,
it's a very similar climate. I think it could very well work for hops.
Wow. All you millionaires out there who are listening, if you're looking at purchasing some land, it is an untapped business venture, I would think.
I have 3 hops plants in my backyard.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
well,
come at me.
Do you use them like...
they're very annoying. They're very aggressive plants.
Yeah, man.
They're very aggressive.
They're taking on a mountain ash tree, like wrapping around.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
It's amazing. They're like an animal,
Yeah.
in a sense. I've also noticed that your pretzels on the menu as well from
Zwicks, yep.
Love that.
Yep.
You guys are open noon to late tomorrow.
Yep.
If people want to venture down and buy, should be good. Good weather tomorrow for the weekend, and patio's still kind of open. You keep that open just kind of by fit and feel. Or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll always have that front patio there open just in case people, because there are people that love to be out and
I love dressing up.
Drink beer. Yeah,
why not?
dress
Hey?
up. Yeah. So.
All right, let's keep going down the line here. What's next?
All right. So this one is one of my personal favorite beers. So this is our pineapple peppercorn saison.
Perfect.
Wow.
So saison, it's one of those
Heat
styles.
and sweet.
Yeah, it's one of those styles where either you love it or you hate it. This is my personal favorite style to drink. Kind of how this beer came about is we actually did a collab with Long Roof Brewing a couple years ago. We both brewed the same base saison but used a different yeast. And the base saison we brewed, our version had a lot of both pineapple and peppercorn flavor, and I was like, oh man, I love that.
So where do you get the pine? Is it pineapple or is
It's
this
actually
or is
pineapple,
it
yeah.
the hops that are
No,
doing that?
so you'll get a lot of pineapple and peppercorn flavor from the yeast flavor itself, but then we also do add in pineapple puree and fresh peppercorns as well to the beer to sort of amp that up to the next level. Yeah, so this one will be very dry, a little bit spicy, a little bit fruity.
I love the heat and the sweet, though. I mean, there's a bit of a, you don't get a lot with beers, but like, well, cheers, boys. Yeah. To the heat and the sweet.
Cheers.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic. That would pair so well with some of the things that he's already mentioned on your menu.
Right? Yeah. And I like the menu for that. Like, you've obviously put a lot of thought into this in terms of having what the food is available for the beer that you make. I mentioned the pretzels by Zwick's, the meat and veggie pies. Also, you make some pizzas.
So you actually
And that's by Lore?
That's by Lore. Yeah. So Lore is it's on the west side of the city here. They make a great.
We talking like a thin type of, or
so they do everything. We do sort of in the intermediate range. We bring in what are called their pizzettas. So it's a sourdough fermented dough.
Okay.
And then we have a couple different options. Classic cheese, pepperoni, but then we also do a chicken tikka pizza as well, and a veggie. So.
This is nice. It's a great menu, both food and drink, of course, that we're sampling here. But you got some summer slushies as well, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Beer to go. You got the growlers, the howlers, that type of thing. If people want to kind of take it home and sample on their own, that's good to see. What are we finishing off here, I guess, with this morning? As we have Nathan from Irrational Brewing here, 124th Street. Check them out. Corner 124th and 107 Avenue. That's the
correct.
That's the one. Yeah,
got it. So the last beer we got here is this one's called Apuntia Mirage. So this is a red prickly pear and pink guava sour.
Jeez. Look at that color, hey?
Yeah.
Hello.
Very vibrant color.
Doctor.
That's great.
Let's text in Beer Me right now to 780-218-9999. $50 on the line to Sobeys and Safeway Liquor. Text Beer Me, 780-218-9999, and you'll go into the hat. And $50 on the line. $13.99 for the beer of the week over there. That is if you want to, the Mango Sencha Rice Pseudo Lager. Karoshi? Yes, correct. $13.99 for a 4-pack at all Sobeys and Safeway Liquor. Once again, text Beer Me 780-218-9999.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you right now, you buy two. Because
it's a great beer.
Because the first four are going to go real quick.
Yeah. So this beer is we do our little. Just let me say first about this beer, we do our sours a little bit differently.
Okay.
So we actually keep our souring culture alive through the brewing process. A lot of breweries, when they make sour beers, they'll do what we call kettle sours.
Okay.
So they'll actually add the lactobacillus in the kettle and then boil it to kill that bacteria.
So they're just looking for the sour taste
just looking
off
for
of
the
it.
sour
They're not
taste,
looking for it
not
to
for a
actually
flavor.
interact.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what we do is we actually sour in our fermentation tank.
Okay.
So we'll actually do what we call a co-fermentation. So fermentation with the lactobacillus plus the Saccharomyces strain. So the yeast strain that creates the alcohol. So they mingle together.
Is this where the doctorate comes into play?
It helps, yeah. Definitely. It's lots of experimentation. And,
Like I would feel like that would stress me out.
Oh no!
In that like you would have to be really exact, wouldn't you? Like that you can have a runaway, you could have.
Well, let's drink.
Yeah,
and then we could talk more about that.
'Kay.
So cheers. Yeah.
To the Oilers.
To the Oilers. So this is it's kind of all figuring out, like you said, how those two interact, and lots of experiments.
That's an interesting. I'll admit, like I have not always been a fan of sours.
Yeah,
but I think there's something going on there.
Yeah,
where you say like a kettle sour.
Yep.
Versus this.
Yep.
Maybe it's that kettling that I don't actually.
You're not puckering at all.
No, this is we make our sours intentionally less sour than most places do. Like we're kind of right on that cusp of that 3.5 pH range. Where generally when people make sours, they're between 3.2 to 3.5. So we try to push it on the higher end because we don't like that either.
This tastes more sour candy than sour milk.
For sure. Yeah.
And
that's a good way to describe it.
And I like there's a lot of sours that I have where I'm like, oh, this is kind of spoiled milk.
You're fighting it again. Type
Whereas no, this is more like a sour Jolly Ranchery type.
Yes,
100%.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. The look and the taste.
Yeah.
Great look to it as well. That's a fun beer.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first thing you see is how it looks. So if it looks great, people are going to be like,
absolutely. Well, it's half the battle there, I think, too. Yeah.
Like when we pour it in our tap room, people see that and they're like, "Oh, what's that? I want that." Just
Exactly.
because-
Yeah.
yeah.
That's an eye catcher. Well, once again, 780-218-9999. Text in Beer Me, and you could get that $50 to Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, and help yourself to the Irrational Brewing. Don't just stop at the Beer of the Week. Try the other flavors as well that we've had. Great stuff. I mean, it makes sense that you're a doctor because a lot of these beers are a lot more complex than some of the others maybe we've had. And that's no offense to anybody else that's been on the show during this segment. But you can tell the work that you've kind of put in into the really fine detail of all the
like I
beers.
said, we try to just differentiate ourselves a little bit and make beers that are not true to style.
Yeah.
Like we like adding different ingredients and experimenting a lot.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, that's what we're known for, and we're just going to keep doing that.
Go for the beer and just stay for the hang because once again, you got a gorgeous location.
Yeah, thank you.
It really is.
Get
really
the meat
nice,
pie.
Get the meat pies.
Yeah. And by the way, thanks for sticking around.
Yeah.
Like Grand Rapids lost is our game.
I know, yeah.
Like-
Edmonton's a great city. I'm very happy to be here. So I couldn't imagine living anywhere else.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into the wrap here for William Huff. If you want your place to look as good as ours, WilliamHuff.com. They've been in business since 1952. Bruce Simpson in the Hangout yesterday. If you missed that as well, go back and watch that. He was great with Jasmine alongside Tom Gazzola and Matthew Iwanek. They're in. Joaquin Gage is in the house. I see, Reed Clark here. Hey, Reed. Tom Gazzola, Matt Iwanek, Hangout
It's like
coming
the
up.
end of Romper Room. You're just...
I love it. Yeah. It's like recapping the Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge from last night and setting up...
That lady never saw Willie, by the way. She looked through that...
She never said an Eric either. I was very disappointed.
She saw my brother like 20 times.
I know.
David and Dave were found 20 times, but never a Willie.
Always preferred Bert and Ernie, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
She can go to hell. What did we learn on the show today? We learned that Irrational Brewing makes some damn good beer, I think.
delicious.
First off. We learned a lot about Wil with Wil Fraser. Great to have you back, man. This was,
nice to be back.
It was a good reunion. A tight, short reunion.
Speaking of good hangs.
We'll do this again.
Yeah.
Maybe you and I, Irrational Brewing, patio, sure meat pie.
Comparable to just throwing in the Big Lebowski and having an edible.
And how about YouTube Trev? YouTube Trev on the
Sounds like
sports
a great
updates.
time,
Hey, what do you grade? I mean, you were here the first time you filled in, but
you know what?
This wasn't as good as last time.
You know, don't be that way. You know what? You improved in certain areas.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you sticking true to your Pennsylvania Dutch roots.
Yes.
Oh, well.
It came out a bit. Yeah.
That's what that was.
I want to thank our guests as well. TSN's Chris Johnston, Herm Edwards, the coach, was on again, and our sponsors, Southford Chevrolet, always a presenting sponsor of the Nielsen Show. We love them for that. Enjoy, once again, the menu for today. The Hangout coming up next. We're already carving into a little bit of that time. Lock Shop as well. Sans Dustin Nielsen today. And we'll carry you through as well the GCL Diesel pre- and post-game shows. YouTube Trev will have it 6 o'clock, all platforms here on EST. Also, the Green and Gold Kickoff Show, 6:30 on YouTube. You can join Milne and Maddie live, Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge tonight. They will have the Elks and Argos. They'll have the Oilers and Penguins, and Game 1 of the World Series, Yankees and Dodgers. Go Dodgers. For myself, Lieutenant Eric, Wil Fraser, Nathan from Irrational Brewing, and YouTube Trev, have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in to the Nielsen Show, and we'll talk to you Monday.